The Frisco RoughRiders offense has been lighting it up of late, collecting 13 hits last night, and they look to keep it going tonight in the series finale with San Antonio.
Live from Dr. Pepper Ballpark in Frisco, Texas, Frisco RoughRiders baseball.
Live from Dr. Pepper Ballpark in Frisco, it's the final game in a 4-game series between the RoughRiders and the San Antonio Missions. Good evening and hello everybody. Nathan Barnett here in Frisco. We're joined by Michael Tepid of Lone Star Ball here in just a few minutes. The RoughRiders are under 500 for the first time this year and look to rebound against the San Antonio Missions today. It's the trade deadline in Major League Baseball, of course, so we'll be keeping a close eye on Hug Watch here in Frisco, with many of the RoughRiders players rumored in trade deals for Texas. Guys like Lewis Brinson, Luis Ortiz, Ryan Cordell, Ronald Guzman, just to name a few. In fact, the RoughRiders maybe are more likely than any other team in minor league baseball to have a player traded off of their roster today at the deadline. The Rangers are aggressively seeking help in the rotation and maybe as a catcher, and the RoughRiders have 7 of the top 11 prospects in the Rangers organization, according to MLBpipeline.com. Lewis Brinson heads the group at number 2. And all 3 starters from this weekend, Yohander Mendez, Luis Ortiz, and tonight's starter, 20-year-old sinker baller Ariel Jurado, is number 11. Jurado was excellent in his AA debut on Monday in Midland in a quality start, scattering 4 hits and allowing just 2 runs. He makes his home debut here today in a good pitching matchup against very effective but lifelong reliever Seth Simmons of San Antonio. Should be a good one as we wrap up the series today here in Frisco, and we can't wait to bring you the action. RoughRiders Baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Train. It's hard to stop a train. By Park Place Lexus, experts in excellence. And by Baylor Scott & White Medical Center, Frisco. RoughRiders about to get started against the San Antonio Missions. Let's give you the lineup for San Antonio tonight. Franchi Cordero leads off in center. He's followed by Nelson Ward and Nick Schultz. The cleanup batter, Gabriel Quintana, the first baseman, 2 homers last night. River Stevens at short. Luis Tejada is in left. Josh Van Meter makes his AA debut at third base. The catcher, Ryan Miller, for the first time in the series, bats 8th, and Chase Jensen rounds out the starting 9. He is the designated hitter. Today's starting lineup is brought to you by Train. It's hard to stop a train. Defensively for the RoughRiders, it's Lewis Brinson in center. In right field, Joe Jackson Cordell is in left. Around the infield from third to first, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, the utility man. Luis Marte, slick fielding shortstop. Alberto Troyonfel and Ronald Guzman round out the right side. Kellen Deglin does the catching today for today's starter, Ariel Jurado, the 20-year-old sinker baller in his first AA start here at home. Beautiful day here at Dr. Pepper Ballpark. First pitch. Ariel Jurado gets the start today for the RoughRiders, making his second AA start and first here in Frisco, just 20 years of age out of Panama. Signed as a non-drafted free agent in 2012. Jurado 0-1 with an ERA of 3.00. 6 innings of work, 4 hits, and 2 runs allowed in that first start against the Midland Rockhounds on Monday. He walked 2 and struck out 1. Jurado ranked the number 11 prospect according to MLBpipeline.com of the Rangers organization. Baseball America has him at number 19. No matter how you slice it, this is a big-time arm in the Rangers organization. As we bring in Michael Tepid of Lone Star Ball. Here, Michael, big-time arm here for Frisco.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see him. I know a lot of the folks at home that watched the Rangers win today are really looking forward to seeing Ariel. Let's get that right. Ariel Jurado. Jurado, yeah. So a lot of folks at home looking to see this guy pitch, and he is a fastball changeup guy. He's got this slurvy breaking ball. That'll be one of the things that he'll look to improve on. But I have noted before that his fastball is one of my favorite pitches in the entire system. It's 91, 94, and it is heavy, and it runs, and it sinks.
Facing Franchi Cordero here to open the ball game, who has been a thorn in the RoughRiders side since coming up from high A, playing in his 31st game today. He's batting .297 with 4 homers and 10 runs batted in. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jurado comes home, and he got him.
Here's that slurve.
Pretty good breaking ball there from Jurado. He picks up his first strikeout, had only 1 in his Double-A debut, but was effective across 6 innings of work against the Midland Rockhounds.
Yeah, he's actually a really exciting arm. I think that this guy's got the profile to eat up some innings at the big league level at a certain point down the road. Like I said, he's got to find a way to differentiate those 2 breaking balls. It's like I said, I mean, technically he throws a slider and a curve, but you could see there it's kind of more of a slurve, and that to go along with the changeup. But you could see right there's a fastball at 92. So he's definitely a guy who's looking to establish the fastball, and it's a really great weapon. Not going to get a lot of Ks, but certainly going to see a ton of groundouts.
Texas League All-Star Nelson Ward at the plate. Drives one well here to left center. Long run for Brinson. That is over his head, carrying all the way to the wall. Ward is on at second base with a double. And you can tell today this is one of those windy days in Frisco. The ball is carrying mightily to left field tonight.
Yeah, that just kept going. Yeah, I thought Lou had a great beat on it, and so did he. I mean, he's a guy who gets unbelievable reads off the bat, and he makes very, very straight, direct lines, and you can tell right there that even he noticed that this thing was just going to continue to go. So the good news for that is that unfortunately that went over his head, but he's also got the opportunity to jump into that wind when he's at the plate.
Ward, a guy with tremendous speed, picks up his 14th double of the year, but certainly might not be on the brakes there. He could think about going to third. 25 stolen bases this year. Nick Schultz at the plate. Had a good day yesterday. Homered in the 10th inning. And that's off the glove of Kellen Deglin. There goes Ward. So the Missions, who scored in the first last night and scored in the first on Friday. As you see, that one just clanked off the glove of Deglin. San Antonio scored a run in the first in all 3 games so far in this series. Ward has scored twice. RoughRiders will draw the infield in here to try to cut him down. One 1-0 on Schultz. There's a strike from our home plate umpire called Lee Myers. Myers, the crew chief of this 3-man crew. Here are the numbers on Schultz, batting .280, 7 homers, 35 runs batted in. Jeff Gorman over at first. Nate Tomlinson is the third base umpire today. 1-1. There's that more slidery breaking ball from Jurado.
Yeah, same kind of velocity though as the one that he threw earlier for the swing and miss. It's 78. So like I said, that's one of the things that you'll see him improve on over the next couple of years before he's ready for a big league audition. And you got to remember, he's only 20 years old at this point. This is one of the reasons why he's such a promising young pitcher.
Next pitch, bounded foul.
There's the third one, and that's all 3 of them have been 78 miles an hour. So he's going to get a little bit of separation there between a slider and a curveball, and once he adds that that kind of that separation between those 2 pitches, he's going to be a really good pitcher. A 4-pitch guy who can compete at the big league level.
71 strikeouts and 79 in the 3rd innings at the high A level this year. You could use one here. He's got one already of Cordero, but with a runner at third on the wild pitch. The 2-2, and he gets another big time strikeout there from Jurado. That'll allow the infield to move back, and he can get out of this jam if he can get Gabriel Quintana.
Really good fastball here. You get an idea right there. There you go. You see that run. That was 91 miles an hour, and you can see that thing just drop and sink. He's got run and sink on it. It's just an absolutely fantastic fastball. And the nice thing about him, too, is even though he's 20 years old, he's got good feel for it. So he's able to kind of manipulate the velocity. He's able to manipulate the run a little bit. But folks at home got a good idea right there of what that fastball's capable of.
First pitch strike to Gabriel Quintana, who had himself a day yesterday. Hit his 14th and 15th home runs of the year. One of them put the club ahead in the 8th inning by a run, and the other tacked on insurance in the 10th. 0-1, another strike called. Oh, he is pounding the zone here in the early going.
Yeah, and he's hitting his spots too. I mean, that's a pitch that even if Quintana does put the bat on it, it's not going far, and it's not going in the air.
13 pitches, 10 strikes for Jurado. just underway here in Frisco. The 0-2. Deglin spearing that one. Kellen catching Jurado for the first time here as a Rough Rider. Shaq Mata caught Jurado in his debut. Fair start for the Rough Riders bullpen catcher. 1-2. Gets him swinging. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Jurado. How about that to start his day? He gets out of the jam. No runs on 1 hit. The Riders are coming up to the plate when we come back here on Fox Sports Southwest. Bottom of the first inning, no score between the Riders and the San Antonio Missions as Seth Simmons gets the ball today for San Antonio. The Rough Riders lineup today looks like this. Lewis Brinson in center field leads off. Luis Marte is at short. Ronald Guzman is in the 3 spot playing first. Ryan Cordell in left. Joe Jackson in right. Utility man Isaiah Kinder-Falefa playing third base today. Alexis Bell, the Cuban outfielder, is DHing today. Kellen Deglin will do the catching, and Alberto Triunfel bats 9th at second base. So here is Simmons. Stands 5'9", 170 out of Winston-Salem. 3-2 record in 27 appearances this year. His first pitch way up high to Lewis Brinson.
Hey, has Lewis Brinson been traded yet?
I was just about to say, this is one of those guys that we'll be looking out for today.
Right at him. We have eyes on Lewis Brinson, folks. he's right in front of us.
He's ahead 2-0. Rangers number 2 prospect in the organization, according to most, after Joey Gallo. Batting .233.
Lewis Brinson, too. Like
that's him.
That's all 6 feet 5 inches, 210, 15 pounds of him.
Swings at one here, pops it foul. Tejada over, he's got it. And a tough year for Lewis, but still could explode at any moment. He's the first down. Here's the defense for San Antonio today. Across the outfield in left, Torres, Cordero, and Schultz. The infield features Van Meter, Stevens, Ward, and Tejada. And the catcher today is Ryan Miller. First one into Luis Marte is over the outside corner for strike 1. Luis been swinging a hot bat, hitting .277. 5 homers and 23 runs batted in. 3 hits last night for Luis. Simmons fires in. It's a bounding ball back up the middle, and that is through for a base hit.
There you go. You said he's been swinging a hot bat, and that's a guy who, if he does get hot, if he's able to swing the bat, he's going to be a big leaguer because he already has a big league caliber glove and definitely a big league caliber arm at shortstop. He can flat out pick it over there, and the bat was always the big question mark, but he's done really well since he's come back, and there you get an idea of what he's trying to do. Not trying to do too much, actually, with that ball. Was just able to kind of go with it, hit it on the ground, go back up the middle, and get a runner on base for the big Condor.
That is Ronald Guzman, who's batting .294 for the year. One of the league's best hitters this season in terms of average and homers. 15 long balls, 56 runs batted in. For Ronald, first from Simmons, a little bit outside for ball 1. Guzman having a career year, already has a career high in homers. He had 12 last year, which was the most in his career before this season. 5th-year pro out of the Dominican Republic. And now Simmons needs to be careful here. It's a guy that we have seen San Antonio pitch very gingerly to across the course of the season series. 1 on, 1 out. Simmons checks on Marte.
This is one of those times when I wouldn't mind seeing Ronald just really open up those hips and try and change the scoreboard. When he's 2-0, it's the first inning. He's got a runner on. You got a, kind of a crafty righty on the mound. Why not just try and put something on the board here?
Here comes that 2-0. Went to the outside part. So Guzman lays off. Ronald an RBI in 4 straight ball games. Bats with a runner at first here. Went 1 for 3 last night, driving in a run on a sacrifice fly. The 2-1 from Simmons. Runners on the move. Good throw, and Marte is out of there. Tag applied by Rivers Stevens. And Ryan Miller catches Marte for the second out.
Marte got a decent jump, but that's about as good a pitch as you can, get to throw somebody out right there. You can see it's a fastball up, glove side right there. So that's kind of a, that's kind of spring training backfield stuff right there. That's fantastic catch and throw, and great pitch for the defense there.
Guzman fouls the next pitch off, so it's full on him. Miller today, the catcher, starting in the place of Rocky Gale, who had started each of the first 3 games. Guy with some big league experience with the Padres. Here's the payoff to Guzman. RoughRiders trying to split this series. They won the first game 4-3, but lost each of the last 2 nights. Last night, Frisco led the ball game 6-1 at one point, but lost 11-7 in extras. Payoff again, and they walk him. So Guzman is aboard. He draws a free ticket for the 33rd time this year. Here's Ryan Cordell coming up. Hit a long ball last night. His team leading 19th homer, just got out of here. And Cordell trying to drive somebody in here. It was in the first last night as well. First from Simmons. One's over the middle. Strike 1. Cordell tied for the league lead in RBIs with 69. And has the second most in the Rangers farm system. He swings at that one and drives this one well.
Atta baby.
It is straight down the line, and it is just foul. Michael, last time we had you, you called for home runs and multiple batters. It sure enough came through at one point. Just reminding you, not saying it should happen right now.
I mean, if you want me to start doing that, I will.
I didn't say that.
I was going to say that Cordell was going to hit a home run again because he started to wear the socks high, last night, today. And I think that's probably a pretty good indicator for some future success. That, my friend, is scouting.
RoughRiders trying to strike first for the first time in this series. 0-2 on Cordell. There's a well-struck ball right center. That's a base hit. Guzman is on his way to third. Cordell's thinking 2. Here comes the throw. It's not in time. And it's a double for Ryan Cordell, his 22nd of the season. And the RoughRiders have some 2-out magic going here in the first.
Some of the tools on display right there. You can see that this is an off-speed pitch that kind of gets away and catches a little bit too much of the plate. Ryan does exactly what you're supposed to do there. He's a really strong kid with a fast bat. He's got a nice kind of short swing. So he was able to drive it out into right center field and then use the jets to get to second base on a ball that wasn't hit all that far.
So that will give Joe Jackson a chance to drive in some runs here. He has had a very productive season. Jackson, one of the best hitters with runners in scoring position. First one gets away from Miller, but not far enough. Jackson batting .271. 3 homers and 35 runs batted in. Here's a base hit he had last night. Dropping that one into right center. That led off the 4th inning. He later scored. Jackson 14 doubles on the season. Here's a strike to him. Very patient.
And Dad is here.
Dad is here. Mom is here. I believe his sister is here. And the ring is here.
The ring is here. And you saw the ring. Joe Jackson's actual shoeless Joe Jackson's 1919 World Series ring, and you saw it and held it and stayed in one place and didn't make a run for the gate.
That's right. It's a real thing. Joe is the great nephew of shoeless Joe Jackson, longtime White Sox. And we were told it will be this Joe Jackson's ring someday.
Wow.
He will be the custodian in the future.
That's a cool family heirloom.
No doubt. It's a ball here left center. Could fall. Back to shortstop. Stevens is not there. Two are home on Jackson's single, and the Riders draw first blood. Here we go, batting .417 with runners in scoring position coming into play. He comes through again.
Good piece of hitting there by Joe. I mean, the pitch was in, and he wanted it in a little bit more. It was up a little bit. He was able to fight it off and just drop it in there. Cordell at second is a big advantage because, as we saw, that ball wasn't hit all that hard, but Cordell's fast enough to get around third and to score.
2 outs there, able to go on contact. Now it's Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Kiner hitting at 6 today. Takes a strike. He's been hitting primarily in the bottom part of the lineup, but has batted all over. A leadoff man for a lot of the year. Guy who has played short, third, second, and catcher.
Yeah, catcher.
There's another well-struck ball. This one's into the gap, and that is down for a hit. Racing to third goes Jackson. A big round, but hanging on at first base is Kiner-Falefa. Make it 4 hits in the inning for the Riders, who are getting after Seth Simmons today. And that first inning against the starting pitcher, Michael, so important when they're not locked in yet.
Yeah, you know, a starting pitcher like this fella, he's on his second organization of the year and may not be established as a starter, and he's pretty new to this role, and a guy that may not come in with super high velocity stuff, and you definitely want to get all over him early and see if you can get to that bullpen. Well, most of that bullpen, there are actually some guys down there that you don't have much interest in facing, but most of that bullpen you kind of like your chances against.
Simmons hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in a start for San Antonio, and 8 appearances in the rotation. The Rough Riders are threatening to do that here in the first. Now the batter, Alexis Bell, the Cuban. He flies one foul. Bell signed by the Rangers just a few weeks back. Playing today for the Rough Riders in only his 4th game. Is 2 for 13 so far as AA player. Played 4 games in the Arizona League.
He's a grown man. He's 32 years old.
Longtime Cuban star. Won the MVP in the Cuban National Series in '07. Takes to get ahead here. Rough Riders with 2 runs across already on the Joe Jackson single. Simmons laboring. This will be his 24th pitch. Another well-hit ball, but that one is out of play. One and 2 on Alexis Bell. Played for his hometown in Santiago de Cuba in the Cuban National Series. Now makes his offseason home in Miami. Bell swings and hits one well here. A drive to left center. Tejada, though, is there, called off by Cordero, and the center fielder puts it away to retire the side. The Riders strike for a couple. Up 2-0 as we head to the second here on Fox Sports Southwest. Rough Riders on top 2-0. The Choctaw Lazy River now open here at Dr. Pepper Ballpark. This is the largest water feature in a sports stadium in the entire world. And Thursday nights, we're throwing the biggest party in North Texas. You can purchase individual tickets, which include food and beverages, for just $39. Visit ridersbaseball.com/lazyriver or call 972-731-9200 today to make a splash in the Choctaw Lazy River. Boy, does that look good out there today.
Cannonball.
Nice warm day. Great day to be out there. Frisco on top thanks to 2 runs on a single by Joe Jackson in the first, and Ariel Jurado, who worked out of a jam in the first, goes back to work against Rivers Stevens to start the second. Stevens will be followed by Tejada and Van Meter in this inning. Shortstop hitting .257. Jurado misses again, 2-0.
Couple of 91-mile-an-hour fastballs there. He's just sort of overthrowing and coming across, cutting a little bit.
Hitters count. He drives the ball foul.
There's 92. So you could tell that Ariel is one of those guys who's going to definitely try and establish the fastball, which is fantastic. You love seeing that out of a 20-year-old. You love seeing that at anybody at the AA level because it's still a fastball league at the big league level. So if you're going to try and get up there, you need to be able to establish the fastball, and that's clearly something that he likes to do, and he gets a lot of ground outs like that. 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Got in on the hands a little bit, got pulled over to the second baseman.
Well, thanks to 3 strikeouts in the first, that is his first ground out today, but I doubt it will be his last.
No.
So 1 gone for Tejada. Left fielder comes in batting .270, 3 homers and 18 runs batted in. Rough Riders trying to split this series after losing the last 2 nights, are under 500 for the first time this year. 52 and 53. Frisco got off to a great start, going 30 and 13 through the first 43 games. Strike to Tejada. These 2 teams going in somewhat different directions. The Missions got off to a brutal start, but are in the running for a playoff spot here in the second half. Coming into play today, 5 back of Midland. Midland Rockhounds, the Oakland affiliates, lead the South Division right now in the second half at 24 and 12. San Antonio 19 and 17 in second place. It's a good pitch there from Jurado. Corpus Christi 16 and 20 in third. The Rough Riders in fourth at 14 and 22. Look at this sinker.
There you go. That's the money maker for him right there. Sinking and running.
There's another one a little bit inside to Tejada. First chance for Jurado to pitch against AA opponents here at home today. Another ground ball. Marte. In time. There's another fun one to watch out there, Luis Marte.
Yep, he can flat out play shortstop right there. You kind of got an idea there, and just the ease in which he makes that play. And he's definitely got a plus arm, and he knows that. So, you know, he's one of those guys that actually has to make sure that he works on his footwork. He works on his glove work simply because he's been able to get away with a lot because of that arm that you see right there that was literally moving faster than the camera could go. And that was also the first off-speed pitch that Ariel has thrown in this inning. He started him off with 7 straight fastballs and then came in there with the changeup, and that's really, really good to see, not only from a young guy, but like I said, anyone in AA has got to be able to establish the fastball because that's what you have to do at the top league.
Another first pitch strike from Jurado, who has thrown first pitch strikes to 5 of 7 hitters. Josh Van Meter at the plate making his AA debut. 5th rounder for the Padres. Out of Indiana. Takes outside, 1-1.
There's another changeup. Like to see that changeup to the left-handed hitters, give him a little bit of a different look.
Van Meter hit 267 in his time in Lake Elsinore. In the California League, 12 homers, 51 runs batted in.
Whoops.
Hits a drive here. Jackson is back. And he's there. Inning over, 1-2-3 for Jurado here in the second. Good start for the Rough Riders starter today. 2-0 Frisco to the bottom of the second inning. 2-0 Rough Riders here early on in Frisco. Rough Riders will send 8, 9, and 1 to the plate here in this inning. Let's send it over to Sean Heath to introduce our junior PA announcer for the day.
Fans, welcome this evening's junior PA announcer, Mallory Joy, 5 years old, from Allen.
Now batting for the Frisco Rough Riders, number 6, Glenn.
Nice job.
Nailed it, Mallory.
Be the cutest Kellen Deglin announcement we'll hear for a while.
For sure, that's awesome.
Deglin 3 and fell, and Brinson to bat. Kellen batting 197. Tough offensive year for the Rangers' first rounder back in 2010. Out of high school in Canada. Drafted 22nd overall, Deglin a catcher. Has been the primary catcher for the Rough Riders this year. Had the day off yesterday, 0 for 3 on Friday. 1-1, was a junior National League player for Team Canada. They set up inside, and Declan rips through it. Simmons from the windup. Drop third strike, and Declan drops the bat. He'll be tagged out. So a strikeout for Simmons. His first of the day, and Declan will take a seat. Nasty pitch there from Simmons. They say he did go through. I think it looks like the right call.
Yep.
So Simmons, who gave up 4 hits and 2 runs in the first inning, tries to settle in here. He gets the first batter out. Now it's Treuenfeld's turn. RoughRiders second baseman today swings at the first. Treuenfeld batting 191. One long ball this year. It was a grand slam.
I mean, if you're just going to hit one.
Right?
You know.
Came 3 weeks ago here at home.
That was day game too, wasn't it?
It was an 8-run first inning for the RoughRiders that day. He capped off the scoring. Came against Northwest Arkansas, the Naturals. 0-2 from Simmons. Just a bit outside. Treuenfeld out of the Dominican Republic, signed as a non-drafted free agent in 2010. 6th-year pro, first-year RoughRider. Getting his first taste of Double-A, has been at the level all year. Good take there from True. Brother Carlos in the Cincinnati organization, a chance to play in the big leagues a little bit. Here's a pop-up foul. Lewis Brinson awaits on deck, and
he really does.
He's still there.
He really does. We're looking at him. He is still in the building.
There he is.
That's good. There you go. There's your center fielder of the future, hopefully. If you're a Rangers fan, anyways.
As we bring that up because the trade deadline is tomorrow at 4 Eastern, at 3 Central. He has been a name that has been talked about some, although not as much as a guy like Joey Gallo, for example, who is in the middle of a lot of trade rumors as we speak here.
But not in my heart. Only on the internet.
Only on the internet.
Where reality lives. On the internet.
Rangers having already made a trade for today's starter. Lucas Harrell picked up the victory for
Hey, how about
Texas.
that? You know, 3 runs, 6 innings. Well, you can't ask for much more out of your 5th starter there.
3-2 to Treuenfeld. That's a line drive, but caught. Boy, what a catch by Josh Van Meter in his Double-A debut. He gets his first putout.
You're a good athlete.
All-state baseball and basketball player in the state of Indiana. Take a look at this catch. Very well stung there by Treuenfeld. But there are 2 outs. Chance for a 1-2-3 inning for Simmons if he can get Brinson. Of course, Rangers fans that don't follow the minors too closely might remember Brinson from his walk-off heroics in spring training in San Antonio. Lines one hard here. That is a base hit. Playing deep and cutting it off is the left fielder Tejada. So Brinson limited to a single, but no 1-2-3 inning for Seth Simmons here in the second.
That was a really good job by Tejada to get to that ball. I think that even kind of surprised Lou a little bit, because Lou took that hard turn at first base, pretty much at second base, and thought he was getting a double, and Tejada did a really good job. You see Brinson right there digging right out of the box because he thought he was going to, and credit Tejada there for getting over there and getting the ball back into the infield very quickly and keeping Lou to a very long single.
Brinson now hit in 3 straight. There he goes. Throw down is late. Brinson's got his 11th stolen base this year.
Love it.
Part of his game that maybe isn't talked about enough.
Yeah, and part of his game that I know that he wanted to improve on this year. You can see he got a really good jump there, and you know that's another good pitch for the catcher, kind of a fastball up and glove side. You see Lou got a good read there, got his head down, got his weight out over his leg, so that's really good. And then, of course, to slide feet first.
Marte slams one deep to left. Back to Hada and makes the catch. What a sensational grab by Luis Tejada in left field, taking extra bases away from Marte. Inning is over. The RoughRiders threaten but don't score. 2-0 after 2 here in Frisco on Fox Sports Southwest. RoughRiders on top 2-0 as we start the third inning, and we bring in the third member of our broadcast team. Brooke Bednar is down behind home plate. Brooke.
Be one of the first 1,000 fans inside Dr. Pepper Ballpark on Friday, August 19th to receive a pair of these awesome patriotic sunglasses. It's also Olympic night, and you'll have the chance to meet Olympian Johnny Quinn. So head out to Dr. Pepper Ballpark then. Back to you, Nathan.
Thanks, Brooke. How about those sunglasses?
Let's do this. The USA. All right, Johnny Quinn's going to be here. It's the guy who had to bust out of his room in Sochi. Remember that? He had to put a hole in the door or something because he got locked in.
That's news to me.
You need to Google it. It's
I am
real.
excited about Rio, though. Ryan Miller leads off against Jurado here in the third. Big swing and a miss. Just one of the number of great promotional nights here at the ballpark. We had Ghostbusters tribute night on Friday night.
With Ernie.
With Ernie Hudson, that's right. One of the original Ghostbusters. Seen the new one yet, Michael?
No. No, I just watch baseball all day, every day.
He's not lying. That's pretty much true. Miller takes away 2-1. Ryan Miller, the backup catcher.
You see that pitch that's 85 that kind of cuts across. Is that the slider? Is that Jurado's slider? I mean, if it's a changeup, it's going completely the wrong direction. That's a changeup. I wonder what that pitch is. I mean, I know that he's had some trouble, you know, with those breaking balls and some of the off-speed stuff, but I know the changeup is good, and of course the fastball is kind of his bread and butter. But be curious to see what what he's throwing there.
There's a fastball and a ground ball. Marte again. The shortstop slings it on. That is now 6 in a row set down by Ariel Jurado after the double from Nelson Ward in the first. He is off to another great start today and was on Monday as well. Jurado took a no-hitter into the fourth inning in his Double-A debut before giving up 3 straight base knocks. Ultimately took a tough luck loss. Boy, he is just cruising so far here today. Number 9 batting, Chase Jensen, is up now.
Oh.
Another first pitch strike.
That thing just runs and sinks. That thing is 91 miles an hour, and that's it. Not only is it going to be swung on and missed quite often, but that's the kind of pitch that you just don't get in trouble throwing that pitch. Even if there is contact made, it's either weak or you know, on the ground.
On appeal, he went. Jeff Corman, our first base umpire, saying he went around. Jensen having a nice series, 4 hits, a homer, has doubled and also stolen a base, but he's behind here 0-2. There's a well-struck ball to right center. Brinson's got a shot, and he's there.
I got to tell you, folks, when that ball's hit, that's a double. You know, he just makes that position look so much easier than it is. When he gets to the big leagues, the bat is going to come later, but the glove is big league ready now, and this is just an absolute joy to watch him play center field. We've had some good ones out here over the years, and this guy makes that position look so much easier than it is. Case in point, that ball right there. That thing is tailing away from him, and it's hit into the gap, into the wind, so or with the wind. So, I mean, you just see this break. See if you could see it here. See him get that break on the ball, and he just sort of meets the ball right at that X. And that's a double for many, many other center fielders. And to him, and certainly to most of the folks here in the crowd, you're just looking at it and say, that's just a catch. But in reality, that is a much more difficult play than he makes it look.
1-1 on Cordero, who he got striking out swinging his first time up. Cordero, well thought of prospect in the Padres organization, one of the younger players on this team. Just 21 out of Oswa in the DR. Close pitch there from Jurado. You talk about some of the guys that have come through here playing center field. How about another one they've got right now? Ryan Cordell, about as good in center as they come as well. But
yep.
Brinson playing out there most days. Cordell is in left field today.
With his high socks.
With his high socks. Number of the Rough Riders doing that today. Gunning for his 4th strikeout. Jurado might have gotten it. No appeal is granted, though. So it's now 3-2. This was the Rangers minor league Nolan Ryan Pitcher of the Year last year. Jurado, who led the organization in wins. Looking for his first Double-A win here today. The 3-2. It's another grounder, but just foul.
That's interesting there. 3-2 and went with something off speed. I thought for sure certainly against an aggressive hitter like Cordero, he's going to try and run one of those fastballs to the outer half of the plate, which we may actually see now. See if he can either get Cordero to roll over on one or swing and miss it.
Back to the breaking ball.
Awesome.
Wasn't expecting it. Cordero's down looking. 4th strikeout of the day from Jurado ends a 1-2-3 inning. He's retired 8 straight for the Riders, who lead 2-0. Rough Riders on top 2-0 here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Off to a good start today, and Ariel Jurado has been excellent. Just 1 hit allowed. He has faced 1 over the minimum. The Rough Riders will send a good part of their lineup up here in this inning against Seth Simmons. Ronald Guzman leads off. Ryan Cordell and Joe Jackson will bat 2nd and 3rd in the inning. Nathan Barnett with you here in Frisco, joined with Michael Tepid of Lone Star Ball, who I think wins the award for most entertaining Rangers blogger follow on Twitter. I know you won't say it, so I'll give you some love.
Most delusional. Hey, you know what? Guess what? Home run coming.
Okay, here you've heard it here first.
Condor bomb right now.
This is going to be the inning where you call 4 in a row?
Maybe. You never know.
Until somebody hits one?
Nope. Oh, boy. He's going to get that far outside of the pitch. Okay. All right.
Yeah, borderline call there. Guzman's last home run came at Corpus Christi. How you feeling about the home run now?
I mean, granted, it's 0-2, but that was the swing right there. That's what I love to see from him. I mean, he's a guy who's got so much power and so much raw power, and he's got a good hit tool, so he's able to go to all fields. And a lot of times he goes with the pitch, and every once in a while I'd like to see him open up his hips and really swing hard. That's not the home run.
Rolls one over to first.
Like that's not it.
No.
Guess what? Ryan
That's okay.
Cordell
Yeah, I was going to say, you got another shot
High
here.
Sox, Cordell, and home run coming.
I'm trying to remember who it was last time.
Brinson.
Oh, it was Brinson.
Yeah.
Okay. Was the 4th of the inning, something like that?
Yep.
Well, Cordell hit one out yesterday. We saw the highlight earlier. Leads all current Rangers farmhands in home runs. Joey Gallo tied with him with 19 in the big leagues. Fouls one away. And the organizational leader, Travis Demerit, dealt to Travis Demerit, no longer a Rangers farmhand.
Travis Demerit helped the big league team win a baseball game today.
Yeah. Trade to the Braves for Lucas Harrell. Good swing there, but a foul ball. Already an extra base hit today for Ryan Cordell. Here was his hit in the 1st. Nice opposite field poke. Came around to score on the Joe Jackson single. Just the 0-2 to him. And he stays alive. Rough Riders collected 4 hits in the 1st inning. Jackson drove in both runs, scoring Guzman, who reached on a walk, and Cordell, who doubled. What a first half this guy had. He was a midseason All-Star, had a 37-game on-base streak, a 17-game hit streak, and then won the MVP at the All-Star game. And for you, Michael, a guy that last year struggled at the Double-A level, he has been a great developmental story this year for Texas.
Yeah, he's made some really good adjustments, and he's fun to watch. And he's a guy who can play all 3 outfield positions. He can play them all well. He's got some pop. He absolutely will be a big leaguer, and looks like he might be a guy who's maybe a 4th outfield type for a long time.
Nice find by the Rangers as well out of Liberty University. He was taken in the 11th round. The 2 gone, a chance for a 1-2-3 inning for the first time today here for Seth Simmons. But he's going to have to deal with Joe Jackson, who picked up the biggest hit of the game to this point.
Hey, is Jackson's family still here?
You know, I'm not sure. I saw them
then
2
home
days
run.
ago. Okay. All right. What if I was sure?
Home run also.
Okay. All right.
How many homers does he have this year?
He has 3.
Yep, 4. I'm feeling good.
It has been a month and 8 days since Jackson's last. So he's due.
Yeah, we're going to need to. Can we send a message to the Lazy River? Just kind of a heads
Look
up.
out?
Yeah, just like a flare gun or how do we do that? Do we have a carrier pigeon or something we could send down there? That's not it.
Well, that'll win the inning. 1, 2, 3. Jackson put away. We're on to the 4th. Frisco on top 2-0. Beautiful sunny day here in Frisco. Rough Riders with 2 runs in the first lead it 2-0 as we start the 4th. From a galaxy far, far away, we bring you Star Wars night at Dr. Pepper Ballpark. Join us Saturday, August 20th for your chance to mingle with Star Wars characters and watch the Riders don Stormtrooper-inspired uniforms. We'll also have Star Wars-themed on-field entertainment, music, videos, and more. So schedule your date with Destiny and be here for Star Wars night on Saturday, August 20th, and may the Force be with you. 4 so far with Ariel Jurado. 3 shutout innings, 1 hit, no walks, 4 strikeouts. He deals with Nelson Ward, who has the lone base hit today. Starts him out with a strike.
Pitching backwards now, second time through. That's nice to see. You know, he established that fastball the first time through, and everybody got a chance to see it wiggle and sink. And now he's starting guys off with the off-speed pitches.
There's a ball hit into the corner, long run over for Cordell, and it's a foul ball. So Jurado has him where he wants him here, 0-2. An efficient start to the day as well for the righty. 42 pitches through the first 3 innings. Ward, Schultz, and Quintana to bat in this frame. So Jurado waits for Ward to get back in the box there. So far, it is seemed like he is ready to pitch at the AA level. Great start at Midland on Monday, and so far so good here today.
Now he's ahead 0-2. I got to figure he's going to go with that fastball, see if he can run and sink one away. See Deglin set up away, and of course he goes with the off speed and gets the K. Fantastic job of pitching. I love this kid.
Here are the first strikeouts today from Jurado. He's got 5 now. In the first inning, Franchi Cordero got him swinging on the curve. Nick Schultz swinging on the fastball, and then the slider to get Quintana. In the 4th, Franchi Cordero down looking. And just now, the strikeout of Nelson Ward, 5 on the day. Here is Schultz, who struck out on that fastball in the first inning. Takes for ball 1. Coming off a start with just 1 strikeout. Wondered maybe how the strikeout ball would translate here at AA. He's showing he's got it today.
Yeah, he looks really, really good. And like I said, in that last one, I predicted home runs, and then I predicted a fastball and an 0-2 count, and he went off speed and got the K. And looks really, really good. Very poised. You know, this is a kid, he's a 6'1", you know, 200-pound, 20-year-old, but he looks really good. He pitches a little bit older than that, has really good feel for what he's doing, and doesn't seem to be too phased. And all the makeup reports coming in on him were really strong, and he's lived up to that. Oh.
You know, we asked him last week after his debut if there was anything he really wanted to work on, anything he wanted to improve, any weakness he had. He said, not really, just want to keep doing what I've been doing. He said the one thing that he wants to improve upon in his conditioning, just so he can pitch deeper into games. But that as far as his stuff goes, he is extremely pleased with how he has pitched this year, and the results have showed for it. Sets up Nick Schultz here, 2-2.
There was a 94 there, so he's maintaining his velocity. He's been mostly 91, 92 for the rest of the effort, for the bulk of the afternoon, but right there he's able to reach back, and as we kind of saw, overthrew it a little bit, but still was able to touch 94. Half dozen times he's done that today.
One skips in, 3-2. Jurado, one of 3 consecutive starters for the Rough Riders this weekend, who are top 11 prospects in the Rangers organization. Jurado, number 11. Luis Ortiz, who started Friday night, number 3. Yohander Mendez last night, number 4. Here's the payoff. And a little tapper foul. certainly any of these three guys. I think Jurado has been linked to less often than the other two, but any of these three could be guys that we see be on Hug Watch today as well.
Yeah, sure. I think Ariel's one of the least known. I think that's one of the reasons that, you know, he spent the bulk of the year in high desert, and he's like we said, only 20 years old, so he might just be the most off the radar one, but he also might be the best. He's really good.
Another foul ball.
Speaking of Yohander Mendez and Luis Ortiz, I've been teasing on Twitter that I have a big announcement that we're going to turn everyone into sources. So here we go. If you look behind when they do the center field camera, if you look behind home plate, you can see Luis Ortiz and Yohander Mendez sitting there. There you got Luis Ortiz in a gray polo. He's charting. Directly to his left, our right, you see Yohander Mendez in kind of a fuchsia shirt.
There's a pop-up.
So there you go. You're all sources. You are all sources at home. So if any of them are not there in those seats for the rest of the game, there's something going on. But other than that, now you are all officially well-placed sources. So now you can send out tweets that say, sources indicate Lulu Ortiz is no longer in his seat. So if you go right behind, you know, when they go to that central, you know, center field camera, if you look back, oh, there they are. Hiya, fellas. There's Lulu on the left. They're charting. And then you got Yo on the right. And there you go. So there's your, now you can say sources indicate they have not been traded because they are still in their seats.
Gabriel Quintana at the plate, struck out his first time up. Boy, that's a hot tip you just gave us all
Boom.
here.
There you go. And I have been watching them the whole game to see if they get up or to see if anyone comes and tells them that if anyone walks in there with, you know, a suitcase and a plane ticket, then we'll know.
One of them's going to get up to go to the bathroom, and trade stories are going to break all over the place.
Twitter's going to explode, yep.
Jurado's set down 10 straight now, and 11 of 12 today. Trying to finish another 1-2-3 inning. He hasn't walked a batter yet, but he's got 3-1 here on Quintana. The RoughRiders have been worn out by Quintana this year. Yesterday he had 2 homers. Pitching carefully to him here. He's hit 4 home runs in 20 games against the RoughRiders. That's a well-hit ball, but it's a foul ball. It is a very loud strike, as they say.
He's a very strong man.
One of the better thought of prospects on this team. Quintana, one of their younger players. Here's a big swing here. Came in on him, though. Playing first base today. Payoff pitch. Broken bat, fly ball, and caught by 3 and foul. Another 1-2-3 inning from Ariel Jurado, who has struck out 5 batters and retired 11 straight. RoughRiders up to the bottom of the 4th. RoughRiders 2, Missions nothing, bottom of the 4th here in Frisco. The RoughRiders will send 6, 7, and 8 in their lineup up. Nathan Barnett here with Michael Tepid. Beautiful day for baseball, and another nice weekend crowd. Crowds over 10,000 the last couple of days. RoughRiders getting their 2 runs in the first inning off of Seth Simmons. And he continues along here, 51 pitches into his day. Connor Falefa's single his first time up. Put men at the corners before Simmons got out of the inning. Pitch outside, ball 1. Connor Falefa, great story this year. Has been a good offensive player. Missed some time with a knee infection, but had a 24-game on-base streak. Snapped just last week on Tuesday.
I love watching IKF play baseball. He's just absolutely fantastic fun to watch. And this year he's made himself into a dude. I mean, the ability to catch and the ability to just pick it up since he's been, you know, I mean, this is a guy who's learning how to catch at AA and calling pitches and really, really remarkable versatility. Because in theory, if he keeps going on the path that he's going to go on, he's going to be a guy who could be a backup shortstop, third baseman, second baseman, and conceivably catcher. So the positional versatility and what that would offer a roster is just absolutely fantastic. And, you know, you might be able to carry an extra guy in the bullpen if that were the case. It would be like if today, if Hanser Alberto was also your backup catcher. You know, so you're able to, the positional flexibility is really, really incredible and what it could offer a club. And I don't know of any other examples where that's happened, so it's going to be a long road, but he's off to a great start.
Well hit to center, Cordero. Rangers back and has it. Simmons has set down 5 straight. Connor Falefa now followed by Alexei Bell. Talked about Bell a little bit in the first, but boy, what a career this guy had in Cuba. 31 homers in 2007. 111 runs knocked in. He is a star back in Cuba. Immigrated legally to the United States. And he swings and fouls this one away. He is not one of those illegal defection stories. Played last year up in Canada for the Quebec Capitals of the Can-Am League. And spent some time this year in the Mexican League before signing with the Rangers. That one backs him off the plate. Bell, 32 years of age. Look out. Almost hit again. 2-1. Pitch missed inside there. So hitters count for Bell. Simmons from the windup. Well outside, ball 3.
I don't know how well he's going to do, but I do like to watch Bell swing. You know, just not a lot of moving parts in that swing. Very compact, very short to the ball. You know, just has that kind of toe tap trigger, and away he goes.
One's fouled up our way. Almost got a souvenir there, Michael.
Nope, 100% sure I would have dropped it.
You might not have to drop it if it comes right at you.
It's true. That's true.
We've got a glove up here for you, though.
Oh, yeah, that's going to help. Yeah. Oh, it's a first baseman's mitt, too. Great.
Here's a little looper out to left center. That's a hit. So Bell is aboard with his 3rd RoughRiders base knock and his first tonight. Little one-out runner for the Riders here in the 4th. Pitch up in the zone. Able to hack that one into left center. Bell, 121 stolen bases in his time in the Cuban National Series. When he had that year in 07 that he won the MVP, in addition to 31 homers and 111 runs batted in, he stole 25 bases.
Is that good?
I think that's pretty good. And remember, this is a shorter season they play in Cuba as well. That was in 90 games. Here's Kellen Daglin, who struck out his first time up.
He had how many homers in 90 games?
31 homers, 25 steals in 90 ball games.
In Cuba.
In Cuba.
Huh.
Batting .355.
That seems good.
He also had 22 doubles that year.
Of course he did.
Almost walked as many times as he struck out that season as well. 47 strikeouts in the 90 games. Oh, he did have more walks, 59 walks that year. This is a guy that for his career, Bell, who's on at first, almost more walks than strikeouts. He's on at first. 1-1 on Daglin.
Whoop.
And they'll throw back at Bell, checking on him.
Got caught twitching there a little bit.
He has not attempted a steal with the RoughRiders as of yet.
Is he going with those 32-year-old wheels?
Well, he did have 14 steals last year in the Can-Am League.
All right.
In just 59 games. 45 stolen bases in 2014.
Huh. They're thinking he might.
Win today. The RoughRiders split this set against San Antonio, who's been surging in the second half. The Missions have won 7 of their last 10. RoughRiders are 1-5 in their last 6. There's a fly ball out to left field. Tejada camps underneath it. And he puts the squeeze on it for the second out. So the inning is left to Alberto Triunfel now. Michael, I know today's a big day for pretty much anybody who loves baseball. Today and tomorrow, exciting days. What do you anticipate the Rangers might do over the next, let's see, 21 hours?
Yeah.
20 hours?
Well, not sleep, for one. You know, but I honestly thought that they were going to just go hard starting pitching. I still think they're going to get a starting pitcher. I still think that they're going to look for somebody that can fill in that rotation. I think kind of as the afternoon has gone on here, I think we've begun to be more realistic about the possibility of Lucroy.
We'll certainly see. We'll keep an eye on things as we go. And as Michael told you already, you're a source watching today. We're through 4. Rough Riders lead at 2-0. Rough Riders on top 2-0 as we start the 5th inning. Let's go out to Brooke at the Choctaw Lazy River. Brooke.
The Riders in Palm Beach Breeze are throwing the largest pool party of the summer right here at Choctaw Lazy River on August 21st for adults 21 and up. Visit ridersbaseball.com in order to win 2 tickets.
Thank you, Brooke. Michael, you know, if you want to go to the Palm Breeze pool party, I think I know somebody.
Okay, I like parties. A lot.
That should be fun.
I like throwing them and I like going to them. So.
Just 3 weeks from now.
Nice.
Ariel Jurado back to work. What a day he is having.
And what a day I'm having continuously learning how to pronounce his name correctly. Ariel.
Ariel Jurado.
Jurado. Ariel.
As you can see, they're spelled J-U-R-A-D-O. They say the J is sometimes silent.
I've heard this.
11 straight retired in a row coming into this inning. Jurado with 5 strikeouts, no walks. River Stevens, the batter, a ground on his first time up.
Couple of change-ups in a row there to the left-handed hitter. He's a guy so far today. This has just been an absolute pleasure to watch. He's using all of his pitches. He's using all the plate. He's even when he needs a ground out, he's letting him hit it. He's kind of pitching to contact. He's been able to manipulate the velocity and some of the movement and the run on his fastball. So, you know, like I said, mostly 91, 92, but he's touched 94 probably a half dozen, maybe 8 times. And really, really impressive game from the 20-year-old tonight. Contact's been weak too. Boom.
And he's done that a bunch too. 6 strikeouts now for Jurado.
That's great pitching right there. Use the changeup to set apart, you know, to set up the outside ball, to set up the outside part of the plate. He used 2 changeups and then came back into the fastball. That's pinpoint command right there. That's absolutely fantastic from a 20-year-old. That was really, really great pitching. Away, and then back in at 93.
You know, so much made of Luis Ortiz when he made it up here on May the 20th as the youngest player on the roster. Jurado is younger than Ortiz. He's the youngest pitcher in the Texas League. Outside ball 1. He's younger than Ortiz. He's younger than Francis Martis of Corpus Christi, one of the top pitching prospects in the game.
He's younger than us.
He is definitely that. I don't think much was made of either of our pitching abilities, though.
No. I have a first baseman's glove here, though. Just found that out, so just in case anybody's looking for a first baseman. I'm 6'4". It's hard to throw over me.
Rough Riders doing with pitching today. They have had the offense plugging along. 7 hits in each of their last 4 games or more. Here's a ground ball out to short. Another weak contact against Jurado, and another out.
There you go, 92 miles an hour. And like you said, just getting that weak contact and letting guys behind him make the plays. And that's the wrong guy to hit it to if you're a missions player. He's a really good shortstop, like we've talked about. He's done a lot of work in the last year or 2 on, like I was mentioning earlier, on his footwork, on some of his hands, and just some of his positioning, because he was one of those kids that came up and his arm was so strong. Marte still has a plus arm, that he was able to kind of establish some bad habits and some of his footwork habits, but he's really been able to fix those over the last couple of years and has all of the tools to make it to the top level at the shortstop position for sure.
Josh Van Meter, the hitter now. 2 outs in the inning. Van Meter 0 for 1. Jurado back to the plate. Another ground ball.
This is great.
Clayton fell to first. Another 1-2-3 inning. It's 4 in a row and 14 straight put away by the Frisco starter. 2-0. We're halfway through it. Bottom of the 5th coming up. Bottom of the 5th, Rough Riders up 2-0. Close look at the Choctaw Lazy River. Man, does that look awesome. It is hot today.
And it is awesome.
It is awesome.
Thing. I mean, that's incredible. If you've got the family and you've got the kiddos, come on out anytime. If you are more of the grown-up persuasion, call Groobs. Come on out on a Thursday and do the Thirsty Thursday with that whole crew out there. That's a good time. $1 beers, $1 domestics and $2 crafts.
That's right.
And a ton of food. And I know they sold it out last Thursday. There was a couple hundred tickets available every Thursday, and I know last Thursday it sold out.
Sold out, I think, every Thursday so far.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's a good time. Everybody come on out and just hang out there and float around and watch baseball.
Great view from out there, too. Seth Simmons is back for his 5th inning. Hasn't allowed a run since the 1st, but he's on the wrong side of this one. Lewis Brinson. A bunt. Simmons has it. Long flip underhand there, but he gets Brinson.
Really good idea. I love seeing that out of Lou. I mean, he's a guy that we've talked about. The bat and the hit tool will be a little bit behind. Big time power from a guy who can play center field, but at the same time, you're still just trying to look to get on base every once in a while. And it was a really, really good idea, and he just missed it just a little bit. If he pushes that thing, what he's trying to do there is just push it past the pitcher and get it, because the second baseman was so far back, and what he was trying to do was just get it just past the pitcher's mound, and just wasn't quite able to do it. But very good idea.
Now it's Luis Marte's turn. He has a hit today already. Takes high ball 1. Marte, the reigning Texas League Player of the Week, won it last Monday. Went 13 for 29 on the recent road trip. And this homestand isn't going too poorly either. He's now 5 of 14 with a double. 1-1. Swing and a miss. Marte singled in the first, was caught stealing. Here's a big swing from Marte. Another swing and miss, and Simmons has his second strikeout.
That's actually one of the things that he's been known for and had stopped doing recently, but he's really a guy who has trouble expanding the strike zone. You can see right there on both of those pitches, that's not even really close. I love Luis to death, but that's a bad approach right there. That's bad piece of hitting there. Just expanding the strike zone, making it much bigger for the pitcher.
Now Ronald Guzman is up. He takes off the plate, ball 1, and with Luis, that is only his 32nd strikeout this year. He's a guy that puts so much bat to ball. If he can keep that zone under control, he's going to be really tough to strike out ever. So Simmons has settled in nicely. He's given up 2 base runners since the first. Little pitcher's duel here today. There's a broken back grounder. Not leaving the mound this time. Simmons on to first. And another 1-2-3 inning. Oh, there it is. We'll be here when we get back, we think. 6th inning. Frisco's been leading since the first. It's still 2-0 as we hit the 6th inning. And the way that Ariel Jurado has thrown it has been well more than enough so far. 1 base runner for him in 5 innings of work here today. Jurado with 6 strikeouts has recorded 4 consecutive 1-2-3 innings and has retired 14 straight. Nathan Barnett, Michael Teppet with you here from Frisco. Thanks for sticking around after the Rangers win today to watch some of the youngsters go. Ryan Miller, Chase Jensen, and Frenchie Cordero are the 3 due up in this inning against Jurado, who has been nearly unhittable. First one to Miller downstairs. Miller, a ground out victim, his first time up. We have said that a lot today.
It's got to be the slider right there. That thing coming in at 84, 85. That's a changeup, so that's nice. A little confidence there to throw a righty-righty changeup. I love to see that. This is a really, really remarkable effort by Jurado tonight. Not just with the stuff and not just, but the composure. And this kid's not pitching like a 20-year-old. I mean, this is really remarkable. Has no fear and is going right at guys. Great.
And remember, the one time he really got into trouble today with that double in the first inning, he came back with back-to-back strikeouts when he really needed them.
Yeah, and I've only had a couple of brief conversations with him, but he just seems like a very laid-back, kind of a calm, level-headed guy, and he's He's definitely a dude. Big shot.
This could be a hit. Long run for Jackson, and it's over his head. Into second base, cruising is Ryan Miller. So that breaks up the consecutive batters retired. Ends at 14 for Jurado. And the Missions here down by just 2 are threatening. There was Jackson's attempt, almost got there. Joe's still learning the outfield. A drafted catcher. For Miller, it's double number 7. Now it's Chase Jensen's turn. He flew out to center his first time against Jurado. Shows a bunt and hits it foul. Missions here playing for just 1 run, down by 2, with still plenty of time left. RoughRiders 6 hits, the Missions with only 2 so far. Neither team's committed an error. And both Frisco runs have come in the first. 0-1 on the way. There's a ground ball, but a base hit. Coming around and stopping at third is Miller. And now they've got him way off of first, but nobody home with Guzman cutting off the throw there. So runners at first and third with nobody out.
Okay. All right, here we go. This is as terrible as it sounds, and if you're new to watching minor league baseball, this is actually it's not what you want, because you want Frisco to win all the games, but as an evaluator and certainly all the scouts, and there's a million of them here today, all those guys are downstairs, and this is kind of what you want to see out of your developing young guys. You want to see how he's going to respond to this. So, early in, it's gone early. Everything went his way early on. Now he's got nobody out. He's got 2 on. And he's got a 2-0 lead, and he's kind of tiring. He's fatiguing. I think it's 113 degrees here today, maybe 120. So as awful as that may sound, being a team guy and wanting the Riders to win, this is actually when you want to tune in. You want to see what Ariel can do, with 2 on and a 2-run lead. He's also got the 3rd time through the lineup here with Franchi Cordero. This could be 2. Get a double play ball.
To second and on to first. How about that for a response?
That's just about as perfect as you can make it right there. I mean, just make the pitch, let your infielders do the work, and continue to use your bread and butter, which is that fastball that you can see this thing run. Look at that thing just sink and run, and it's just really hard to lift that pitch. It's not it's not Sam Dyson-esque, but it gives you an idea of the type of movement that he gets on that 2-seamer, and just a fantastic pitch. And of course, 1 comes across, but now you've got nobody on. You get yourself out of the 6th inning and still have a 2-1 lead.
So Miller scores on the play, making it 2-1. But the RoughRiders will take it. Bases clear. Back to the windup for Nelson Ward. Ward a double in the first, struck out swinging his last time. Jurado with 6 strikeouts today. Back to the plate. And Ward pops it up. Shallow left field. Cordell is there. And that's the inning. The Riders give up the first run of the day, but they still lead it 2-1 to the bottom of the 6th here on Fox Sports Southwest. RoughRiders on top 2-1 as we hit the bottom of the 6th inning, just given their first run of the day. We send it out to Brooke at the Choctaw Lazy River. Brooke.
Do you want the ambassador of fun in bobblehead form? Well, if so, be one of the first 500 fans inside the ballpark next Thursday, August 18th, to receive and take home your @Tweet Groups bobblehead. Back to you, Nathan.
Thank you, Brooke. Can't wait to get one of those.
Groups himself is a bobblehead.
Yeah,
so it's amazing that he actually has a bobblehead. This is great, man. I love that guy. He's so great.
The second of 3 bobbleheads this year.
Oh, come on. There's 3 Groups bobbleheads for real?
3 Groups bobbleheads.
Wow. He is a huge megastar. I'm happy to know him. What a remarkable presence.
Ryan Cordell leads off for Frisco here in the 6th. Seth Simmons still out there. Misses with his first. Cordell pops this one. A chance for the catcher, Ryan Miller.
I have a first baseman's glove.
That's going to be a long reach for you. Cordell 1 for 2 today with a double in the first. Pop out his second time up.
Why is this in the booth, by the way?
That is a long-standing joke on the radio side for us.
Okay.
That Ryan and Steve don't come prepared with their glove every night. So Ryan finally brought one in.
Brought a glove.
He finally brought one in.
A first baseman's glove.
I guess it's all he had. 1-1 to Cordell. High for ball 2. And that's right, Michael. On September the 1st, the final Groob's bobblehead of the year will be a life-size bobblehead.
What?
That's right. There will be
it's
one.
Like 5'6"?
There's going to be, yeah, that's right. There's going to be one.
There's going to be one 5'6" and there's
Groob's
like a drawing
bobblehead.
For. This is amazing.
It's going to one lucky fan that night.
Lucky. That's awesome. That is awesome. There's going to be a life-size Groob's in someone's home.
Yep.
How do they determine who gets that? Is it a drawing? Is it an auction? What are we doing here?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's been determined yet.
Huh.
2-2 to Cordell. Swing and a miss. Simmons has got his third punch out of the day.
That right there might be the only Achilles heel in Ryan's game. He's got a lot of swing and miss still. He gets into situations like that with 2 strikes, and kind of similar to what we saw from Marte earlier. He just expanded the zone quite a bit and saw an off-speed pitch, saw a good hard breaking ball, and probably knew about a third of the way through his swing that he was going to miss it by quite a bit, and he did. So that's probably the only Achilles heel in his entire game, because he's a really good player.
97th strikeout of the season for Cordell. Here's Jackson. Floats one, but foul.
What game is this for you guys?
This is game 106.
Cool.
And for Cordell, it is game 105.
Okay.
He is one of only 2 players in the Texas League that has missed only one of its team's games.
Wow. Love to see that too. What a tremendous athlete he is. I mean, he's just one of those kids that you just look at, especially in like shorts and a t-shirt. You just kind of look at him and just know that he could probably play any sport that you could think of, and you can see a lot of that athleticism when he does, like you said, get a chance to play in center field. And I know that the Rangers had experimented with him playing shortstop and playing a little bit of third base over the last couple of years, and he's just been exclusively an outfielder this year, and that's what he'll be going forward, because he's really, really good at it, and it's obviously the most logical path for him to the big leagues.
Great basketball player in high school as well, Cordell.
I would imagine. That doesn't surprise me. He's probably good at everything, every sport.
Led his team in points his junior and senior seasons. 1-2 on Jackson. Foul ball, and no, not a foul ball. I thought it hit him. Instead, it's bounced out to Simmons, and Jackson is put away easily.
What is Isaiah's walk-up music?
Oh boy, I think you're asking the wrong guy. Get your phone out. Get the Shazam app going.
It's very Hawaiian.
There's Jackson, grounded it. Almost hit him. Thought it did the way he reacted.
You know, Kiner Falefa's younger sister is coming to the University of North Texas next year to play volleyball. So if he returns to Frisco to continue to develop as a catcher and a super utility type guy, there's an outside chance that next year there will be 2 Kiner Falefas in North Texas all the way from Honolulu, which is probably not something that they envisioned as young children growing up.
He said it was hard leaving the island. He really misses it.
Yeah. It's hard for me to leave the island when I go there for a few days. Yeah, no one likes leaving Hawaii.
1-1. There's a strike. Kiner Falefa 1 for 2 today. Single in the first. Has flown out since. Simmons deals. And a little floater out to second. That falls for a hit. And that is what he does. 2 singles for the day. You know, it doesn't have as much power as a Michael Young did, and obviously he's a long way away from being that, but he reminds me a little bit of that, just the approach.
Yeah, and he's got a really compact little swing, and you know, the other thing that he's got going for him is that he knows the zone, which is as evidenced by his on-base percentage and the on-game, you know, the on-base, you know, game streak. He really doesn't. We talked about expanding the zone a few times today. He's not a kid who does that very often, and he can steal some bases, and like we said, he just has a really, really unique package of versatility and tough as nails. I mean, great, outstanding 80 grade makeup on this kid. Just wants to play baseball and will play anywhere you can.
My favorite comment of the entire year, I think, from any player on the team. We asked Kiner Falefa after he caught his first couple of games. What he didn't know about catching that he knows now. As Alexei Bell awaits ball 2, he said, with no hesitation, it hurts to get hit.
Like with a foul ball?
Yeah, like a foul ball or a ball in the dirt.
Like I guess
brutal honesty.
I guess infielders all sit there and watch a catcher take one off the toe and just think, shake it off or whatever. But
right.
In reality, that ball's going about 110 miles an hour and comes careening straight down onto your foot or your knee or your shoulder. That's awesome.
There's a high fly. Foul territory. Quintana has it, and that is the inning. Seth Simmons really grinded out here. He's done well after first inning with the Riders still lead at 2-1 as we head to the 7th here on Fox Sports Southwest. Riders lawn tickets, including a Riders souvenir and a hot dog for Sunday through Thursday games, can be purchased for just $7 at Kroger. Visit RidersBaseball.com for a list of participating Kroger locations. Rough Riders on top 2-1 as we start the 7th. The day is done for Ariel Jurado. Jeffrey Hernandez takes over here, making his 3rd appearance with Frisco this year after missing a bunch of time due to an appendectomy. No record, ERA of 6.75 in an inning and a third. He's gone back-to-back outings throwing 2/3 of an inning, and he works for the 2nd time in this series. Through on Friday night, no runs, 1 hit, 1 walk, and a strikeout for him in his last appearance. Michael, what do you know about Hernandez, who's a returning Rough Rider?
Yeah, we've seen him a few times over the last year or so. He's got good stuff. He's one of these guys who gets to the AA level because of stuff. We see this all the time with a lot of bullpen arms, and the thing is, the key is for any bullpen arm, and certainly any Rangers fans who are watching, you've got a chance to see it this year, and you've seen it throughout the years, is the #1 rule of thumb for all relievers is don't walk guys. I mean, it's almost just behind don't give up runs, like don't walk guys, and Jeffrey has the stuff to be a big league reliever. His fastball slider combo are really good, and he's got the stuff, the raw stuff. He's just got to throw strikes. Not quite as good of a repertoire as somebody like Jose Leclerc, but a similar profile, and then he's just got to continuously get the ball over the plate, and he pitches with emotion. So we'll have to see how he does today.
He's going to deal with Nick Schultz first, 3, 4, and 5. He fires high for ball 1. How about the day for Ariel Jurado? 6 innings, 1 run on just 3 hits. No walks and 6 strikeouts. Jurado cruised through 6 innings on 78 pitches, throwing 52 strikes today. 1-0 from Hernandez. That ball's shot out to right field. Jackson circling around it, and it falls. Base knock for Schultz.
Tough shadows out there, and I think that played havoc a little bit on Joe there. Kind of broke back and broke away from it, and then ended up having to come in and charge. So you can see him. You see the angle he's taking there, and then kind of took a right turn there. Most of the field is in shadows except for the part where he is there in right field.
So Schultz is aboard here to open the inning. It's the 2nd leadoff base runner for the Missions over the last 2 innings. Here you can see the sun garden that Jackson's dealing with.
That's the difference between a 6 p.m. and a 7 p.m. start out here. Normally with a 7 p.m. start, by the 7th inning, that the whole field is dark, or at least in shadows. And today, not the case, and I'm sure that Joe wishes that it was.
2-1 Frisco. Gabriel Quintana at the plate. 2 homers last night, 0 for 2 today. Frisco playing extras last night, had to burn a lot of the bullpen. There's a strike. Hernandez just working his way back. In close games like this, the Rough Riders are often turning to guys like Joe Filomeno, John Fasola. Good pitch there from Hernandez.
See that his mechanics there are all arm. I mean, not a lot of lower body in those mechanics at all. He's just throwing. Kind of looks like he's just having a casual catch there with the backstop, but he's able to run it up into the mid-90s. Those last couple were 94, so have to see if he can continue to throw strikes. He's behind here 2-1.
It reminds you of Neftali Feliz a little bit, who always had just that easy motion.
Right.
Not a lot of legs.
There's another 94 fouled back. Quintana was on that one too, as you could tell, because of the fact that he fouled it straight back. He was on it. Just got a little bit underneath it. So, yeah, Jeffrey's got the stuff, the raw stuff, to be potentially a big leaguer sometime down the road. He's just got to throw more strikes, got to be more consistent. See that a lot in Double-A.
He's ready, and it's a ground ball. Troyan Fell diving, gets it, gets up, throws to first, and it gets away. Boy, nice stop by Kellen Degley. He throws to third late, but that saves a base there as the Riders scramble to cover the empty bases. But that ball got into the dugout. Quintana's got second base. Let's get a look at this play unfolding again. Great stop by Troyan Fell here. Diving to knock that ball down, but his throw just a little off target. Guzman trying to stay on the base. How about the kick stop from Kellen Deglin, though?
Canadian. The kick save, he's really good at it.
He was not a goalie, by the way.
No,
but he did play hockey. He was a defenseman.
Big fella.
Maybe kick save as a defenseman back there, trying to knock a ball down.
A ball?
Puck.
There you go.
Yep, a puck.
It's
the
hot. It's
hockey
too
ball.
Hot to think about hockey.
The hockey ball.
The hockey ball. Yes.
So it's a single and an error. And Rivers Stevens bats at a crucial moment of this game.
Get a chance to look at that breaking ball there. That one came in at 78 miles an hour. You know, Jeffrey had thrown harder than this in the past. I'm a little bit curious here as to why he seems like he's maybe taking a little bit off. I hope it's deliberate. But you know, he's touched 94 a few times with the fastball, and that slider just came in at 78.
As a pop-up, shallow center, back Marte, and Brenson's got it. Man, can he cover ground, and
That's a long way, folks. That's, again, how we talked earlier about how much easier he makes that position look than it is. And rest assured, every scout who's here just saw that. I mean, it's a flared shot out there, and he's playing back. So you can see him right there get a good jump on it, and he reads it, and he just goes straight to it. Nothing loopy about that run that he made to it, and then just makes it look a lot easier than it should be. That glove is ready for the major leagues now. The bat's going to take a little bit of time, but he can definitely play out there. He's going to be fun to watch.
Mission's now 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position today. They threatened in the first with a runner at third and only one out. They've got men at the corners here with nobody out. Rough Riders get the one. Ground ball could get him out of the inning. Tejada at the plate. Fouls it back. Luis Tejada 0 for 2. The Mission's now with 5 hits. The Rough Riders have 7. And Tejada has grounded out twice to short. Fernandez can induce another one of those here. Rough Riders could double him up, get out of this inning.
Nathan, do you know if sources indicate that Luis Ortiz and Yohander Mendez are still with the organization?
I believe sources do tell us that.
There they are, folks. The gray shirt and the what is Yo Mendez wearing today? It's kind of a floral sort of fuchsia thing. He's left-handed.
Well, and you throw another 5 innings, 1-run ball like he did last night, time and time again.
Look great. I was asked about that today on the radio, and you know, the sliders really come along for him. He's going to be a 4-pitch guy, and the sliders just come along so much this year. He was always fastball, curveball, changeup, and this year with the introduction of that slider, he's just looked really fantastic, and he's grown more confident in it throughout the year. That's been a lot of fun to watch. There they are. There's Yo and his Venezuelan flowery floral thing.
I believe they call that a shirt.
Yeah, shirt, yeah. Yeah, Lulu going with the more conservative gray polo there.
Big pitch of this game, big at bat. Hernandez could use a strikeout. And did he get it? No. Jeff Gorman says that Tejada did not swing. Rough Riders scoring both of their runs today in the first. Get a look at that check swing. Looked like the right call. San Antonio scored once in the 6th. They came back from a 6-1 deficit yesterday, scoring 3 in the 6th and 3 in the 8th. They then scored 4 runs on 2 homers in the 10th to beat the Rough Riders 11-7. Frisco used 5 relievers yesterday. San Antonio used 4. Bullpen's light today. Outside, ball 2. For those maybe watching a minor league game for the first time, you don't often see minor league relievers go back-to-back days. So,
and when you do, that usually means something serious is going down. I remember earlier this year we were all kind of waiting on pins and needles to see when they were going to make that transition with Matt Bush. And then one day the word filtered through the clubhouse and sort of the blogs and the fields there that, yeah, he was going to go back-to-back, and we all kind of knew that the club was giving him a real look right then.
Oh, a huge strikeout there for Jeffrey Hernandez. He gets Tejada, and the RoughRiders have a chance here to get out of the jam again, like they did in the first. Good breaking ball. This would be a big performance here for Hernandez, who spent all of this year prior to his time in Frisco in AAA with the Round Rock Express, and in the game back in May felt pain in his side. Turned out he was had an appendicitis, had to have his appendix removed, and missed 2 months. Josh Van Meter pops it up. This could end the inning if it's catchable. Kiner Falefa not quite there. New life for Van Meter. But the first 2 outings for Jeffrey since coming back off that injury have not been great with Frisco. The command hasn't been there, but he's throwing strikes today. He's given up a couple of base hits. 1 error has helped the man to third.
Slowing his arm down on that breaking ball. Starting to wonder when or if that these Missions guys have picked up on that. Some of these more adept hitters are going to look for that thing. He's slowing that arm down quite a bit when he's coming in with the slider. 78, 79.
High fastball there. And for those watching back at home that don't understand why that matters,
well, because hitters will see it. Really good hitters will see it. AA hitters will start to see it. AAA hitters will see it. Big league hitters will see it every time. I mean, you'd slow your arm down on any pitch, and Miguel Cabrera is going to notice.
And then they know what the pitch is.
Yeah, and they know exactly what's coming, and then they just sit on it and adjust, and their timing mechanisms are absolutely remarkable. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a way of tipping. A lot of times tipping is done more with physicality, like, you know, flying shoulder, you know, the front shoulders coming open a little bit, or the glove, when they're striding towards the plate, the glove comes up to different heights for different pitches. So that's more of tipping. This is just kind of one of those things that hitters learn to see and learn to determine.
2-1 from Hernandez. Make it ball 3. There is a bag to give. Ryan Miller, the catcher, awaits on deck. No action in either bullpen right now. Looks like Seth Simmons will be coming back out for his 7th inning. Colorado went 6 today. This is the first reliever of the ballgame for either side. Hernandez trying to keep Ariel's win intact. 3-1. And just up high.
Yeah, he's missing high. He's not getting over the ball at all. You know, and that's one of the things that when you have kind of an upright pitching motion like he does, where he's not necessarily going to use a lot of his lower body, that's one of those things, is that you finish out up high and your release point changes, and then you miss high often. So he's going to have to kind of find a way to get his hand back over on top of the ball and to bring that thing down. We go from Gerardo, who anytime he misses low, and almost every pitch that he had was, you know, belt or below, and now we got Hernandez who's finishing upright.
Ryan Miller, a chance to make a big impact in this game, takes the first pitch strike.
Yeah, nice job there.
Miller doubled his last time, came in to score the lone Missions run on the double play. He has also grounded out today. Got off to a hot start, batting just .219 coming in though. Bags packed, the 0-1. There's a high fly, foul. Nothing in 2.
Yeah, this is great. Now he's got 0-2. You got 2 outs. You got bases loaded in a 1-run game. You really want to bear down here. And, you know, if you're a reliever, then you know you're probably just going to go 1 inning, maybe 2. And this is a chance right here for you to throw your absolute best pitch. So we'll see if Jeffrey's able to just kind of rear back and either get some extra life on the fastball or throw a really hard cutting breaking ball here.
See what he does. 0-2. Got him. Big time strikeout for Jeffrey Hernandez, and the Riders escape the bases loaded jam. Nothing across in the inning. Huge strikeout here from Jeffrey Hernandez to close out the top of the 7th. And the RoughRiders lead it 2-1. Stretch time here in Frisco. Bottom of the 7th, RoughRiders up 2-1. Folks having some fun here during the 7th inning stretch. Frisco's led since the first inning tonight. Sunday fun day here at the ballpark. Big family day. Pre-game catch on the field.
That's
Lots of
the
fans
best.
enjoyed that.
That's the best. I mean, I've tweeted it out a million times, and it's every Sunday, right?
Every Sunday.
There's a 6 o'clock game between 5 and 5:30. You could come on out and have a catch on the field with your kid. And they kind of put cones around the areas that you're not supposed to go, and basically the infield, and then an area where the players are going to stretch. But other than that, the entire outfield, I tweeted out a picture of it earlier. The entire outfield is just filled with parents and their kids just having a catch on a professional, outfield. And just fantastic experience. Only kind of thing you could do in the minor leagues.
Kellen Deglin leads off for Frisco. Nathan Barnett with Michael Tepid of Lone Star Ball. He mentioned his Twitter handle. You can find him at TepidP. Deglin, Triunfel, and Brinson. And if you're a follower of the Rangers and you want to know more about the minor leagues, a great way to find out. One of a handful of great follows. Here's Deglin. Swings to the first and has a base hit. Nice aggressive approach for Deglin coming up there.
I love to see that out of Deggs. I like to see guys sit 0-0 and just kind of look for something that they can drive and just sort of swing as hard as they can there. And this is a guy they know that they've seen a lot of pitches from him. They know that they've seen everything that he's got to show them. And why not just go up there and be aggressive, especially if you're in Kellen Deglin's shoes where you're having a bit of a tough year with the bat and really looking to get things going for these last few weeks.
Triunfel at the plate, runner moving, swing and a miss on a hit and run, and Deglin is safe. He's got his first RoughRiders steal this year. His 10th career stolen base. Triunfel trying to protect, couldn't make contact, but Deglin steals it anyhow.
Missions had a little bit of confusion as to who was covering there. You see the second baseman and the shortstop both very late to break on that. I think that was probably a hit and run, but I also think that they may not have discussed it prior to that pitch because Kellen Deglin is a catcher and not a man known for his speed. So certainly able to take advantage of something there, get into scoring position with nobody out.
Next to Triunfel, that one's lifted to shallow center. Cordero won't get there. Deglin down to third, and the RoughRiders have been at the corners here with nobody out. As maybe things getting to the end of the rope for Seth Simmons here, who came into this inning with 90 pitches. Just off the end of the bat there from Triunfel. Really just doink it in there. Cordero playing way back. Oh, Brinson is coming up. This is the 4th time through the order. The Missions do have action in their bullpen. Just starting to warm up. Brinson 1 for 3 today with a single. Swings to the first. Shallow center again. Cordero won't get there again. That ball dies. The Riders have another run. RBI hit for Lewis Brinson. It's 3-1. Boy, back-to-back bloopers for the Riders. 3 straight hits off of Simmons, and it looks like that will be it. Manager Philip Wellman is coming out.
Sources indicate Lewis Brinson still a member of the Texas Rangers organization.
Still doing good things. Knocking Seth Simmons out of the game. Jose Torres is coming into the ball game, and he will face Luis Marte when we come back. Frisco with a run across in the inning. Lead it 3-1 here at the bottom of the 7th on Fox Sports Southwest. RoughRiders with a run in this inning. Lead it 3-1 over the Missions in this final game of a 4-game set. The day is done for Seth Simmons. First reliever out of the pen for San Antonio is hard-throwing lefty Jose Torres. Look at the numbers on him. Just sensational work. 0-2, but ignore that. 0.79 ERA. How about 21 strikeouts in 22 2/3 innings? This guy is legit.
Yeah, we saw him the other day, and he is a dude. Like, this looks like big league stuff. I mean, this is the kind of guy that if he keeps throwing like this, he's going to be in the big leagues this year. I mean, what we saw from him the other day was just Really fantastic. Kind of a slingy lefty. I don't necessarily know that I go as far as putting the Diekman comp on him. You know, he does start off on the third base side of the rubber, so he's not quite as far over on the first base side like Jake is, but very similar style of repertoire, very similar style of mechanics, and then also very similar outcomes. You know, this is a guy who's going to run 95s to 97s and touch a little bit higher, so he's a good pitcher.
No outs in the inning. Runners at first and third. Toyon fell over at third, and Lewis Brinson, who drove in a run to knock Seth Simmons out of the game over there at first. Luis Marte is the batter to face Torres. Ronald Guzman, a lefty, is on deck. Part of the reason they were getting Torres ready was to potentially face Guzman. Marte 1 for 3 today. A single back in the first inning. Since then has flown out and struck out. Torres to the set. Let's fly that first one. Oof. And it's popped up at 94 miles an hour for foul strike 1.
So different than what they've been seeing. You know, that 88 to 90 mile an hour righty who's coming from the first base side of the rubber. Now we get this long, thin lefty from the third base side of the rubber slinging it in at 94 on his first pitch.
0-1 to Marte. Runner breaks from first, and he balked now. Kicked his leg up trying to make the pickoff and never let go of it. A clear balk, and the Riders get a run out of that, much less the runner at second. That's a big play.
You folks watch a lot of minor league baseball? There it is. He's looking right at Lou, and Lou takes off for second, as you can see right there, and then he just put his foot right back down. Once you lift that foot up, you've got to throw the ball either to home or to second. He did.
Pitch to Marte, grounded foul. So 2 runs across in the inning. Those are both charged to Simmons. Frisco has opened up its largest lead of the day at 4-1. So another look at that balk. It's pretty clear.
Yeah.
That one, we could call that one.
Generally speaking, lifting up your plant foot and then just planting it, not releasing the ball is going to be called.
0-2 to Marte. There's a little pop-up. This will be the pitcher, Torres, who's got it. Marte put away. First out of the inning. Now it's Ronald Guzman. 2 in the first, 2 now here in the 7th for the Riders. Frisco will continue the homestand after today. They'll take on the first place Midland Rockhounds for 3 days over the next 3 nights. Should the RoughRiders rally back in the division and come back and make things interesting down the stretch run, they entered today 10 games back. It'll have to be because they win this upcoming series against Midland, who is in a 2-2 tie today at Corpus Christi. First pitch to Guzman.
There's 96 away. This is a great matchup. This is the kind of stuff that you love to see when you come out to a minor league game if you're a prospect junkie. You like to see hard throwing big lefty relievers going up against, you know, left-handed power guys who are going to have to hit left-handed hitters. If Guzzi wants to be an everyday regular, he's going to have to be able to at least keep his head above water against hard throwing lefties, and this is a great matchup for that.
Just missed it there. He has hit lefties well this year, batting .348 against them. With 6 of his 15 homers, he's 23 of 66 against southpaw pitching this year.
That'll do.
0 for 2 today with a walk drawn. He has scored a run. Grounded out each of his last 2 times up. Has an RBI in 4 straight games and a chance here. 1-1. Late 96 mile an hour cheddar there from Torres.
I think that was power on power. I think Guzzi was sitting on that fastball and was ready for it. He just swung hard and wasn't able to catch up to it.
This is the 5th inning Torres has pitched against the RoughRiders in 4 appearances, and he has not allowed a run. got him looking.
98 miles an hour on the outer edge. Guzzi disagrees. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, really good pitch. That's going to be that's a big league caliber relief pitch right there. You got 98 at the knees away. That probably was just a shade outside, but that's still a lethal pitch. Nice job of framing there by the catcher.
Certainly with one ball in the count, good idea no matter what.
Yeah, 98 degrees, 98 miles an hour. It is 98 degrees, but it was probably 98 miles an hour. Is it still 98? How hot is it? It's getting to my head. Do we get water breaks?
I think it's cooled off.
We get Capri Suns at halftime?
Sure.
Okay.
Here's Ryan Cordell. Swings at the first, comes up empty.
That's a changeup. That's an 88 mile an hour changeup. So this kid Torres has got something. Don't be surprised if you see him in the Padres bullpen. I don't know about this year, but at some point down the road, that's what big league relievers look like when they're in the AA level.
2 runs across in the inning for the RoughRiders. A runner at second, 2 outs. Torres to Cordell. Inside for a ball.
It's 97 miles an hour, so he went changeup 88 away, came back in at 97 in. Well, now that he's even in the count, we'll have to see what he goes back to.
Cordell hitting lefties very well this year, batting .290. Slugging nearly .500. Down in the dirt there. Cordell looking for his 26th multi-hit game of the year. Double way back in the first. The RoughRiders today now have 10 base hits. 4 of them came in the first. And they've got 3 here in the 7th. First multi-hit inning since the first. Seth Simmons really quieted things from the 2nd through the 6th. 2 balls and 1 strike. Cordell smacks one foul.
Yeah, Ryan can catch up to velocity. He's definitely got a quick enough bat, and he's definitely strong enough to hit a ball out of here and do some real damage here. But you know, at 2-1 in the count, I'm sure that he was sitting on a fastball, got 195, was just a little bit out in front of it there. But he might, even at 2-2, he might sit fastball again and try and put the good part of the bat on it.
Torres has not allowed a home run this year. Ball 3. You can tell they don't want Cordell to be able to extend his arms here. Everything is inside from Torres.
Yeah, except he started him with that 88 mile an hour changeup away. He might, I don't know. That's pretty risky, but you might want to do that again. You know, 3-2 here. See if you can get Cordell to be out in front on it.
Runner at second, the payoff pitch. Ground ball to short. Up with it, Stevens on to first. Dug out by Quintana, and the inning is over. The Riders, though, strike for 2 runs and lead it by a 4-1 score as we hit the 8th here in Frisco. 3-run lead for the RoughRiders, largest of the night. Here as we begin the 8th inning, 4-1 Frisco. Join In Touch Credit Union and the RoughRiders on Saturday, August 20th, as we present Batter Up for Banking at In Touch Credit Union's Plano branch on McDermott. You'll have the opportunity to meet RoughRiders players and mascots, take home free giveaways, enter to win free Riders tickets and prizes, and enjoy free coffee and donuts. We hope to see you there. There's a lot of free stuff.
Free donuts.
Free donuts.
I've met the RoughRiders players, but I am interested in free donuts.
Well, there you go. August 20th.
Boom.
Batter Up for Banking.
In Touch Credit Union. I'm in.
Jeffrey Hernandez is back out for his 2nd inning of work. Got into some trouble, but got out of it in the 7th. Hitting 2 strikeouts of Tejada and Ryan Miller, ultimately to escape a bases-loaded jam. He is the first man used out of Frisco's pen today in relief of Ariel Jurado, who, if you missed him today, you missed something rather exquisite. 6 innings of 1-run ball on 3 base hits, and he's in line for his first AA win. Chase Jensen opens the 8th inning. It's the 9-1 and 2 batters for Philip Wellman's crew here in the 8th. Jensen followed by Cordero and Ward. Hernandez threw 23 pitches in his first inning of work. His 24th is a ground ball up the middle, and it's a base hit.
You mentioned their skipper, Philip Wellman. If you are watching at home and a baseball or minor league or even just a Sports Center junkie, you will remember
a YouTube junkie.
What's that?
Or a YouTube
junkie, yeah, or Twitter junkie. You will remember their legendary, the tirade that he threw one time a few years ago. He is the skipper now here, but or for San Antonio. But he is the manager who climbed, did a, I don't know, he turned the rosin bag into a grenade at one point, and he military crawled across the infield to the mound in a tirade once. So between him and then Frisco RoughRiders manager Joe Mikulik, 100% certain that we have the most dramatic managers in minor league baseball history today.
And surprisingly enough, we haven't seen a single ejection in the season series.
It's been a real disappointment. So I'm kind of hoping for some volcanic activity here from either one of them, because like I said, if you just need a refresher course on what the skipper Wellman is capable of, just type Philip Wellman into any Google search engine or any search engine, and I have a pretty good idea that you will see him turning the rosin bag into a fake grenade and throwing it and then crawling on his belly across the infield to the mound.
Franchi Cordero at the plate.
There he is. There's the skipper. And they both have that very cool, very, kind of southern Fu Manchu. Look like they spend their winters as extras on Deadwood, or, they're big fans of Lonesome Dove. Like, both of those guys just love Lonesome Dove. Coors Light.
Down and in 2-2. And, I hear the same thing about Wellman that we can say is definitely true of manager Joe Mikulik, that they could not be any further from your expectations.
Sure.
Based on how they sometimes behave.
Yeah, and Mick's even kind of pulled back the curtain in a few interviews, and not only with me, but with you and with a few other people, that he knows he does that stuff for show, and he knows that it's just kind of part of the entertainment, and he has a good time with it and goes for it.
Just missed a little base hit there. Rough Riders, I don't think, could be a whole lot luckier than having manager Joe Mikulik at the helm. Rough Riders have some action in their pen. Ryan Slack is up. Slack, one of a few who did not pitch last night, through an inning and a third shutout on Friday. And with another lefty, Nelson Ward, on deck. Fernandez doesn't get it out here. It could be the end of his night. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ground ball left side. That's a base hit. The Missions are threatening for the second straight inning here against Jeffrey Hernandez. Although both weak ground balls, both singles. And the Missions bring the tying run up here in a 3-run game in the 8th.
You want to talk farm for a second?
Well,
maybe.
If Hernandez is sticking around, we can do that. It looks like he will, so
One of my favorite young prospects had a heck of a game today, named Tyler Phillips. Kid out in Spokane, youngest player on the team, I believe he's one of the youngest players in the entire league. He's 18 years old, and he went 7 today, gave up 1 earned, walked 1, had 4 Ks. So remember that name, big 6'5" righty, running on up into the mid-90s, just learning how to pitch, super raw, 18 years old. Spokane is, of course, the short season team, so if you're kind of new to minor league baseball, that's before A-ball. So that's before low A and high A. You go to short season, and he's there, and he's at Spokane. And like I mentioned, he's very, very young and very raw, but has a lot of tools and has a lot of ability to get up there. Generated a whole lot of buzz in instructs last year. That buzz kind of carried through spring training. I got a chance to see him. There was quite a few other scouts and a lot of other folks that I knew that he was kind of starting to show up on some radars. So remember that name, Tyler Phillips. He's an 18-year-old right-handed pitcher. Good Rangers prospect.
2-0 on Nelson Ward. He swings at that one. Ward 1 for 3 with a double, a strikeout, and a flyout. Just missed it. Gets Hernandez back into the count. How about High Desert today, scoring 10 runs? And it wasn't even at home. It was at Rancho. 3 homers. 2-1 delivery fouled off. Jairo Barris with his 14th home run. That's a guy that Frisco fans will be getting to know here in the not too distant future, whether it's end of this year or early next year.
Yeah, I think he's got a shot to get up here next year. You talk about tools. I mean, that guy is all tools. At this point, he's all tools. He's trying to transition some of those tools into actual baseball skills. But yeah, he's 6'6", 200, I don't know, probably 230 pounds, and he's got a lot of raw power. He might have the strongest raw arm in all of the Rangers minor league system. He's got an absolute bazooka out there in right field.
This could be two. Marte takes it himself. Throw to first, double play. Oh, Jeffrey Hernandez has worked into some trouble, but he has gotten some big outs. Just gets a ground ball here. And boy, it couldn't be much easier for Luis Marte, who does the hard things easily. Yep. Here's a look from the other side. So the inning is left to Nick Schultz. No longer represents the tying run with one runner on at third base. Schultz today 1 for 3. Fouls it off. He singled his last time up.
I like what I'm seeing a little bit more out of Jeffrey in this inning. You know, he's given up some hits, but like you had mentioned, they weren't incredibly hit. You know, they weren't hard hit. I mean, they just sort of found holes, and he's using a little bit more of his lower half here. He's getting some velocity. Maybe it's just that he's just getting a little bit looser and the warmth has kind of taken over, but he's been 95, 96 this inning, which is great. There's that slower arm.
Works on Schultz.
Yeah, it did. It absolutely did. Yeah, you can see him kind of move that arm a little bit slower. He's tipping that a little bit, but like you said, it worked that time, and that's an awesome job by him.
One more strike to get out of the inning. Send us to the bottom of the 8th. A pause. Well, that was nowhere close.
No, that was another 96, and that's a good indication of just him not being consistent enough. You know, that was kind of similar to a lot of the pitches that he was throwing last inning, where he just wasn't finishing them off and wasn't staying on top of the ball there, and finished it up high. So he's got to get back to what he was doing a little bit earlier in this inning, and he's going to get himself out of here.
Back to the plate. This leaves a breaking ball up there to Schultz. Quintana awaits on deck. So for Hernandez and the RoughRiders' sake here, you'd love to get out of this inning with his batter up. Quintana with 2 homers last night has 15 for the year, and if Schultz gets on, Quintana would represent the tying run. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hernandez fires home. Ball 3. This inning started with a ground ball single from Chase Jensen, followed up by another grounder through the infield for a base hit from Franchi Cordero. Nelson Ward hit into a double play, and that's where we are now. Runner at third, 2 outs. Frisco up by 3. Hernandez eating up some important innings tonight for the RoughRiders with a heavily used bullpen taxed from last night's extra inning game. Here's the payoff. Just got a piece. Able to bend that one into the zone. Ryan Slack ready to go in the bullpen. Carom right off of Deglin's mask. Oy.
You want to be a catcher?
Nope.
Nope. No, thank you.
No, I'm good. I get a lot fewer foul balls hit right at my face from this spot.
Right off the mask. Good grief.
3-2 again. Fly ball right center field. Over is Jackson, and it's by him. Plays it on a hop. The Missions have a run. Going into second base is Schultz, and he is safe. It is now a 4-2 ball game, and those RoughRiders insurance runs in the 7th proving very pivotal now. Second hit of the ball game for Nick Schultz. He is one of 2 Missions hitters with multiple hits. He and Chase Jensen.
95-mile-an-hour fastball. He just left a bit up. It's just kind of flat. That was a disappointing at-bat there for Jeffrey, because he had him 0-2 and he battled back to 3-2 and then made a mistake pitch and ended up costing Frisco a run.
Here comes Jeff Andrews, the acting pitching coach, while RoughRiders pitching coach Brian Schaus is on his mandatory Rangers vacation. All coaches in the Rangers system take at one point a 3 or 4 day vacation, and he's on his. And the Rough Riders getting the familiar face, Jeff Andrews joining the back, who was here for 8 seasons. Now the Rangers assistant pitching coordinator under Danny Clark. And a rather succinct mound visit.
He's one of my favorite people in the whole organization. Love talking to Jeff. He's a guy who's just got a couple of years as a pitching coach under his belt, somewhere right around 30, I think. He's just forgotten more about professional baseball pitching than most of us will ever absolutely know.
Here's Quintana. First pitch, breaking ball.
You can see that one he did a little bit better. That one came in at 80 miles an hour. You can tell that he sped up his arm there a little bit. And that might have been something that Jeff said. You know, make sure you're not slowing down your arm. But you could tell there just in the velocity of the pitch. Most of those have been 77, 78 throughout his outing here. And that one comes in at 80.
There's another strike. But the pitching guru doesn't have to say much, huh?
No, that's what he does, man. He's fantastic. And like you said, he's a rover now, so he kind of floats around. Lives in Oklahoma, so he travels out of there. And he'll go to Hickory, he'll go to High Desert, he'll go even maybe stick his nose into a little bit with the big leaguers, but for the most part, he'll be on the farm and he'll be around.
Fly ball, but out of play.
I got a first baseman's glove.
And I don't want to hear about that until you actually make the catch.
And
you didn't even know where it was.
No, it already has a ball in it, too. So.
Well, you can take it out.
Yeah. You know, or I could just hold it there and act like I caught it. All right, look what I did. I can't believe the only glove that any of you guys had was a first baseman's glove.
Breaking ball way upstairs. That's not true. It's just the only one that Ryan brought.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Look out.
That actually, that time he actually did finish well. He was able to use his lower half there. The ball just slipped out of his hand.
Almost at 50 pitches. Yeoman's work here tonight for Hernandez. A 1-2. Another pop fly, but a foul ball and no shot for any of the Riders. Remember, Ryan Slack ready in the bullpen. He sat down for the moment, but should be ready to go. There is a lefty on deck, River Stevens. Joe Mikulik, less than some managers, won't always play the lefty-lefty, righty-righty combinations, especially with his relievers, but figure Hernandez has got to be near the end of his rope anyhow, almost at 50 tosses. Frisco holding on to this lead for now. Dangerous pitch here to Quintana. He pauses, fires, and a ground ball. Kiner Falefa stabs it, throws, inning over. Rough Riders hope the bottom of the 8th is the last time they bat. They lead at 4-2. It comes up after this here on Fox Sports Southwest. Bottom of the 8th, Rough Riders ahead 4-2 here on a Sunday night. Trying to finish off a win and maybe get a little bit more insurance here in this bottom of the 8th. Nathan Barnett with you here on Fox Sports Southwest, joined with Michael Tepid of Lone Star Ball. Frisco's led the whole way. 2 runs in the first, 2 in the 7th. Beautiful night. Joe Jackson leads off. He has one of the biggest hits in the game, a 2-run single in the first that put the Rough Riders ahead. He has grounded out twice since then, is 1 for 3. Jackson will be followed by Kiner Falefa and Alexis Bell in this inning. Jackson with a hit now in 4 straight games. Jose Torres still out there working on his second inning. Kicks back, fires home, and Jackson takes way up for ball 1.
Torres going in the windup now, huh? I don't think I'd ever seen that. Always come in with guys on.
Lines one here to left. That's a base hit. Won't be out of the windup any longer.
Nope.
Jackson joins the 2-hit club. Lewis Brinson and Kiner Falefa both with a pair of base hits as well today.
You know who doesn't like the windup? Jeff Andrews.
Oh, really?
Yeah, definitely not on relievers. You know, just thinks a lot of it is wasted motion and it's kind of antiquated. So, which I think that he has many supporters in baseball.
And I'm certainly not going to start disagreeing with Jeff Andrews on pitching.
No, that's kind of like what we discussed in the last inning.
Here's Kiner Falefa, takes outside for ball. 2 for 3 today for Kiner. Couple of base hits, has his 18th multi-hit game in 77 with the Rough Riders.
He is still more Hawaiian than you and I.
Definitely. 1-0 from Torres.
Maybe.
He is up in the air to right. Hangs up too long for Schultz. 1 away.
I'd like to see him turning around pitches like that. 93, 94, 95 mile an hour pitches. I'll be curious to see what the story and what the plan is for him going forward. I love, like I've mentioned a couple times, I love the role that he's in just because of the uniqueness of it, but you've also got to look at him and just think physically, if he added 20 more pounds of muscle, would he be able to hit for a little bit more power and maybe stay behind the plate more often? So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with him, and it's going to be interesting to see. But he's a kid with a bright future, and he loves baseball. And we mentioned earlier how he has that 80 grade makeup, and he'd play a triple header today if he could. Going to be very fun to watch.
Alexei Bell now up. Single and 3 trips for him today. The RoughRiders have 11 base hits. Bell slaps one to right here. He's got his second. On his way to third is Joe Jackson. And the RoughRiders threaten again here in the 8th inning. Coming off a 2-run 7th. Frisco has been at the corners with only 1 out. Frisco last night 13 base hits. They have 12 now in this one. Nice opposite field stroke from Bell. And well, I'll tell you what he's got in his game is a tremendous bat flip.
Yeah, that's Cuban moxie right there. I mean, they're not necessarily known as being more subdued batters. You know, they're not guys that are going to hide their emotions very often. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the names. There's a guy named Yoenis Cespedes. He's got a little bit of flair. There's another one. The Dodgers have one named Puig. He's got flair. You got to see this kid play. Good.
I think I've heard of him.
Yeah. He's got $70 million or whatever.
Here's Kellen Deglin.
He might, probably not anymore, but at one point he had $70 million. So.
Deglin today's got a hit. He scored a run. Jackson at third. Bell is at first. Frisco leading 4-2, looking for some insurance against Jose Torres here in the 8th inning. Ryan Slack is back up for Frisco. It looks like it'll be Slack's chance to save this game today with Fasola and Filomeno and Jackson all used last night. There's a foul ball. There's Ryan Slack at a 96 South Carolina.
That's an awesome name for a town. Like the words, they're like, it's not the number, it's N-I-N-E-T-Y to second word S-I-X. 96 South Carolina.
Yeah.
This is a place I should go. Maybe I'll go home with Slack at the end of the season.
I think you might need to get invited first. 0-2 on Deglin. Wave and a miss.
I'll bring pizza and beer. I know people.
Down he goes. That's the second out of the inning. RoughRiders threatening here, but it'll be left to Alberto Triunfal. RoughRiders with 2 runs in the first 2 in the 7th today. The Missions runs coming in the 6th and the 8th. Jose Torres, the only man used out of the bullpen for Philip Wellman. The RoughRiders have used only Jeffrey Hernandez. Both starters going 6 innings today. Triunfal with a hit, a run scored, 1 for 3. Torres is first, in tight for a ball. The set from Torres and the throw over to first. Anything new on the Twitterverse? The Rangers traded anybody yet?
Just you and me.
Yeah, we're out?
Yep. We're out of here. We've been.
Did they get something good at least?
No, but we've been shipped out to do collegiate basketball for Chaminade, which is in Maui.
Okay. Could be worse.
Yes. We're gonna stop over and have dinner with the Kiner Falefas in Honolulu, and then we're gonna work the upcoming basketball season for Chaminade. You know, because their mascot, the Chaminadians, it's gonna be it's gonna be a great season, man. Really looking forward to it. So.
Well, I guess it's hug time.
Yep.
2-0 on Triunfal. And that's a pop-up. Could end the inning if it's catchable in foul ground, third base side, and dropped. Van Meter was there. And he looks back up at the sky as if to try to figure out what got in his way. It was windy early. It is picked back up again. Maybe it gusted at the last moment. Let's take another look.
And that's unfortunate for the pitcher, really. I mean, that's, you know, you're going to force your guy. You might only throw one more pitch, but you're definitely going to force your guy, your kind of your big lefty gun ace reliever, to throw at least one more pitch there. He's already at 25 after 2 innings, and it's not necessarily something that that everybody in the organization likes to see all the time.
There's a strike. Getting a look at that replay, it looked like he looked down for just a brief moment. Not sure if he thought he was getting close to the wall or the dugout. So get one more look at it here. Oh, it's the strike on Troy and Fell. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Rough Riders up by 2, and another throw back at Bell. Rough Riders trying to make a winner of Ariel Jurado today in his home Double-A debut. 6 innings, 1 run, 3 base hits, and was even better than that sounds. 2-2 to True, and a foul ball back our way. There's that glove. Well, it nearly went in here.
That was amazing.
Just backed out of the way.
Absolutely, I backed out of the way. 100 times out of 100. Yeah.
Where was the glove? This is why it's in here, Michael.
My first baseman's mitt.
Hey, it's better than your bare hands.
You're 100% correct.
Nearly took your computer out.
Yeah, it did. Boy, that would have been a bummer. Huh.
This third time Troy and Fell has almost hit us in the booth.
I got beef with Troy and Fell.
2-2. And here's the pitch.
Come on.
Another foul ball back at us. That one's a little lower.
Torres has that, one of the things that I like about it, he's got that left leg. He's got that leg, that finish where he just kind of snaps that left leg out. Very similar to David Perez. It's very, very funny that he, not David Perez, to David Price. They're very different. Very different humans. That was an odd Freudian slip, but
David Perez.
He's got that David Price finish there from the left-handed side, and kind of has that flaring leg, that left leg that kind of pops out when he's finishing his pitch.
2-2 to Troy and Fell again. That's a well-struck ball, but it's up in the air and in left field for Tejada. Inning over. Rough Riders will try to close it out when we come back. They've led the whole way. They need 3 more outs. So we head to the 9th here on Fox Sports South. Top of the 9th, last chance for the Missions as the Riders try to close it out here. 4-2 leaders right now. They've led the whole way, and new pitcher into the ball game is Ryan Slack. The southpaw out of 96 South Carolina takes over with a record of 2-3. Slack has posted a .426 ERA, striking out 33 batters in 38 innings with 33 hits allowed and 23 walks. Slack's given up 20 runs, 18 earned, 5 homers, and will look for his 3rd save of the year. He replaces Jeffrey Hernandez, who allowed a run on 5 hits in 2 innings. Slack faces Stevens, Tejada, and Van Meter in the inning. It's the 5, 6, and 7 batters with Frisco up by 2. River Stevens 0 for 3. First one up high, check swing, and doesn't go on the appeal, ball 1. Slack has pitched well during the month of July, an ERA of .238. Coming off of a dreadful June, he has really rebounded nicely this month. Foul ball. And the count is even at 1-1. Slack, Michael, just a great story in the organization. A guy that was not drafted, coming out of Spartanburg Methodist College, and has made his way all the way to Double-A and has pitched well here over the last 2 years. 1-1. Inside corner for a strike. 1-2. Slack fastball, curve, changeup, and slider. Primarily fastball, changeup.
You can see that he gets by on some of that deception too. You can see, you know, he starts out kind of open and then closes up as he lifts that leg. Has a little bit of a pause there, a little bit of a hitch, trying to get those hitters off balance. And you know, he's a lefty reliever who could throw it up into the upper 80s and low 90s, so he's always got a shot.
Frisco trying to earn a series split against San Antonio, 3 outs away. Another foul ball. Frisco entering today for the first time all year was under 500. And they would make that stay under 500 for just one day with a win today as well. Get back to 500 at 53-53. San Antonio, a lot to play for. Here battling for a second half playoff spot and are right there, 5 back of Midland entering play today. 1-2 to the plate. That's a well struck ball, line to center field. Brinson, though, of course, is there.
No problem. It's right at him. That's actually one of the harder plays that a center fielder ever has to make. It's one of the harder plays that any outfielder has to make. And we know that, A, because we've been told that time and time again, and B, because we watch a lot of A-ball guys try and make that play. And when the ball's hit right at them, it's really tough to gauge the speed and kind of the movement of the baseball. And once again, Lewis makes that look quite a bit easier than it is.
Lewis has had a nice night tonight, couple of base hits, plenty of outs in the outfield. 1 gone for Tejada. 0 for 3 in the contest. Strike 1.
You mentioned Slack from Spartanburg Methodist. There's another guy in the Rangers organization that I like, kind of a way under the radar prospect, kid named C.D. Pelham, who is up with Spokane, big 6'5" lefty, who's also from Spartanburg Methodist.
Ground ball to second is bobbled by Triunfel. An easy sure out is instead an error. And new life breathed into the Missions. They bring the tying run up here with 1 away. That's the second error of the ball game on Triunfel, 1 throwing and now 1 fielding. Frisco's made both errors today. They lead it though 4-2 here in the 9th, out hitting the Missions 12-8. Josh Van Meter in his Double-A debut 0 for 2 with a walk. It's a guy that has double-digit home runs this year. Swing and a miss. Slack limiting left-handed batters to just a 186 batting average with no home runs this year.
That's how he's going to get paid. If you're going to be a lefty reliever with stuff like what he's got, you've got your best chance to carve out is just kind of being a loogie, very similar to what we've seen from somebody like Alex Claudio, although Slack obviously throws harder than that. But you've got to be able to retire lefties. You've got to be able to retire lefties consistently and get your team back in the dugout. So what are they hitting? 181 lefties?
186.
Okay, yeah.
Slugging 256.
Yeah, got to keep doing that. Keep putting up those numbers.
Outside, just off the corner.
So Spartanburg Methodist that has 100 players drafted.
Great program there. You know who's the pitching coach there now?
Who?
Former Rough Rider Kevin Posadas.
Oh, nice. Yes, I did know that he was a pitching coach. I didn't know that he was a pitching coach there. I remember when he started throwing the knuckleball here. That was always fun.
Tried to revive his career as a knuckleballer.
Yeah.
2-1 to Van Meter. There's a strike right at the bottom of the zone.
You got Mookie Wilson. You got 39 WAR out of Reggie Sanders. He was drafted out of there. Orlando Hudson. Keep our fingers crossed that Ryan Slack and C.D. Pelham are the next 2 big leaguers from Spartanburg Methodist.
1 out, 1 on. The 2-2.
Rangers had one this year. Brent Burgess, their 40th round pick, was from there as well. Baseball powerhouse, Spartanburg Methodist.
Located, of course, in Spartanburg, South Carolina. No kidding.
Good call. Good call.
Yep. The payoff. And a pop-up. Should be playable left side of the diamond. Marte makes the call and the catch. Ball game should be over, but it continues at least one more batter. It'll be the catcher, Ryan Miller. Don't go anywhere when this game's over. We'll talk with our player of the game today. Wrap up with some final thoughts here. Well, something we haven't talked about, meant to bring it up earlier, is big day yesterday for the Rough Riders announcing the Texas League All-Star Game will be here next year.
That's going to be so fun, Nate. That's going to be fantastic. What's the date? June
27th.
Okay, June 27th next year. Everybody kind of pencil that in on your calendar. Peasley asked me about it today on ESPN the radio, and I'm really excited about it. What a fun event that's going to be. We're going to have the home run derby. There's going to be all kinds of activities and festivities going on out here all the time. It's going to be fantastic.
Ryan Miller pops it up. This should end it. Jackson, late adjustment, has it, and that's the ball game. The Riders win it, and they split the 4-game series against the San Antonio Missions. Ryan Slack closes it out. Rough Riders 4-2 over the Missions. And we're back to wrap it up when we come back here on Fox Sports Southwest. Rough Riders win tonight, 4-2, the final score over the San Antonio Missions. Rough Riders baseball on Fox Sports Southwest has been brought to you by Train. It's hard to stop a train. By Park Place Lexus, experts in excellence. And by Baylor Scott and White Medical Center, Frisco. Strong effort, 4 runs today on 12 hits and a couple of errors for the Riders. 2 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the San Antonio Missions. The winning pitcher for Frisco, Ariel Jurado, improving to 1-1. Seth Simmons dropping to 1-3, taking the loss, and Ryan Slack picks up the save for the win. We're now joined by today's player of the game, Lewis Brinson. A couple of hits, a run-scoring hit, and some great defense today. Lewis, first of all, congrats on the win. A big hit for you coming in the 7th inning, providing some insurance. What were you looking for in that spot?
Just what I hit, a slider. Luckily, you know, it's all about placement. Placed it just right. Shallow center field, I knew they were playing me deep. I'm just trying to get that run home from third, get a little insurance going in the last couple innings.
Hi, Lou. Michael Teppett here. I just wanted to touch base with you a little bit on, we talked during the broadcast a lot about your defense and just how much I personally enjoy watching you play center field. And tell us a little bit, and tell some of the folks at home that may not have had a chance to see you play defense a little bit. I know you put a lot of focus on it, and that's something that you take a lot of pride in. Tell us a little bit about your mindset as a defender out there in center field.
Right. I just tell myself nothing should drop. You know, I'm fast, I'm athletic. Have the instincts. I know, I believe my abilities out there, and you know, I just have a mindset out there. It's all about mindset, hitting and defense, and I think life is just about having a you can't beat me mindset, and that's kind of the mindset I have out there with my arm and with my legs. Just try to get to everything and help my pitchers out, and you know, just try to take away hits.
You helped your pitcher out, Ariel Jurado, today. How fun was it to work behind him the way he threw tonight?
Oh man, that guy is amazing. He's been having a great year. That's why he's up here, and he's not really giving in to the pressure of AA. You know, he's really shoving since he's been here, and you know, hopefully he can keep it going in this last month.
All right, Lewis, thanks so much. Congrats.
Thank you, guys.
Lewis Brinson, ladies and gentlemen, 2 hits tonight, an RBI single. Rough Riders win it 4-2 here in Frisco in the series finale, and we're back after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Rough Riders take the series finale 4-2 over the San Antonio Missions. 4 runs, 12 hits, 2 errors for the Riders. San Antonio 2 runs, 8 hits, and no errors. In his Rough Riders home debut, Ariel Jurado picks up the win, throwing a quality start, 6 innings of 1-run ball on 3 hits to improve to 1-1. Seth Simmons, the starter for San Antonio, suffers the defeat, giving up a season-high 4 runs in 6+ innings on 10 base hits. And Ryan Slack, his 3rd save. And boy, Ariel Jurado today was something special, Michael.
Yeah, he just was fantastic. And like we've talked about during the broadcast, he came up, he's 20 years old, he's very young for the age, but he does not look it. He's very, very composed. You saw that he got strikeouts there with every pitch. There's the slider, there's the curveball. I mean, he was really moving the ball around using all 4 pitches. There's the fastball on the inner half. Great job.
Here in the 7th inning, a big out for Jeffrey Hernandez. The Rough Riders up with the bases loaded, and Ryan Miller struck out swinging. Big out for Jeffrey Hernandez.
Yeah, went breaking ball there. We were talking about it before he threw it. We knew that he could either bear down or he could go breaking ball. He went breaking ball.
Next inning, a balk from Jose Torres. Oh, boy. It was just too easy to call, and it helped the Rough Riders score a run in the inning. Part of a 2-run 7th. Frisco moved ahead 4-1. So the Rough Riders win it 4-2. Over the San Antonio Missions today here in the series finale. The Rough Riders will be up on television coming up here in just a couple of weeks. The next TV game will be August 18th. It's a 7:05 first pitch. We're on the air at 7 o'clock here on Fox Sports Southwest. It'll be the Springfield Cardinals. You guessed it. They are the affiliate of the St. Louis Cardinals. That'll be in town to take on the Rough Riders. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. It's been a pleasure bringing it to you here. Rough Riders baseball is copyright 2016 Frisco RoughRiders Baseball. Good night, everybody.